So hot in here. My name is Mitchell Renz. Y'all are watching the Raiders Report, and today we're turning up the heat on Pete Carroll, Chip Kelly, John Spytek, Geno Smith, because I'll tell you this right now. I'm so sick and tired of empty words at podiums, and I'm waiting for somebody that's in charge of this thing to give me some answers, to give me some solutions to all the problems that I've been seeing right now around Raider Nation. So coming up here live on today's show, I mean this when I say this. Pete Carroll, I hope you see this video. Chip Kelly, I mean this when I say this. I hope that you see this live stream. To Geno Smith, to John Spytek, I hope you see this stream. And if you're a Raiders player, if you're a coach, if you're somebody that gets the honor to rock that shield every single game day, and this makes you feel together, I know I am a loud individual. I know that I'm sure a bunch of y'all are loud individuals, but I mean this. We can be loud together, and if you want to shout out here on today's program, give me a Raiders down below. I already see my guy King Shav counting it down. King Shav, everybody I know, we were 3 minutes late. YouTube, they switched up something on their end, so we were trying to figure out how to go live for like 3 minutes. I mean, imagine sitting down on a toilet and not knowing how to piss. You know what I'm saying? Now, some people are like, oh, do you sit to pee? Only in the middle of the night so my wife doesn't get mad at me. What up, Vincenzo Peoples? What up, Ryan? What up, Conan, Steven, Stockcotton, Yoda Jenkins, Rebel, snitching on me earlier saying I had delay a stream. Zip it, Rebel. Buzz-O-Matic, Efron, Javier Gomez, Tony. I'm feeling good today. Why am I feeling good today? Because I have outlined, and I mean this took me a very long time today. Shout out for Chugs for building that I'm going to be talking about on today's program are the Pete Carroll and John Spytek circus. And what I decided to do is I decided to hop in my time machine. I decided to go back to February when the Raiders actually hired Spytek and Pete. And I decided to outline every single thing that I think the Raiders have done wrong this offseason and the season on the offensive side of the football, on the defensive side of the football, and on special teams. I mean this when I say this. It might be one of the longest shows I have ever created, and you're going to get the opportunity to watch it today here on the Raiders Report. Also, I'm going to explain why I think Chip Kelly and the Raiders offense led by Geno Smith is having some of the issues that they are having. Because it's easy to point the finger, right? Though maybe if you talk to Jerry Jones, he don't even know what finger he's pointing anymore. Some of you know the joke, some of you might not. But to the 906 people watching this show right now, it is easy to sit up here and go, Geno Smith is part of the problem. You're right. Chip Kelly, part of the problem. You're right. Pete Carroll, John Spytek, part of the problem, part of the problem. You're right. But I do think that people, every single person alive can point out a problem. How do you find a solution? I don't know what the solution is, and that's kind of what scares me the most here because, I thought that this season was going to go in a much, much different direction. And I've said it before. In the offseason, I'm going to be a hopeful Raider fan. Why? Because I did the whole Josh McDaniels, not hopeful Raider fan thing, and shit, man, I think it took a few years off of my life. Now, the way that today's show is going to go, let's get some of those super chats flowing. Let's get some of those questions rolling here. We'll get them up on screen. We are going to do a Tuna's Top 5 today, which is going to be a lot of fun. Today's National Taco, or what, it's like something like National Taco Day. The first Tuesday in the month of October is like the most Taco Tuesday of all, apparently. So we're going to talk about that. We are going to give away a little bit of money today. So if you want to get in for a shot to win, $20 Venmo at Mitchell Renz 365. If you've never been in a duck race, if you don't know what a duck race is, ask somebody down in the comments. People watching yet, only, 150 likes if you haven't already. Make sure you guys click that like button. It helps me, helps Chugs, helps my dog Chuck. What up, United? Mitch, big thanks to you and Chat Sports for all that you do. Painful Geno Smith stat. Oh, boy. All right, so most interceptions through Week 5 since 2017. Geno, Zach Wilson, Wentz, and holy shit, Deshaun Kaiser. What a name that is. All had 9. Win, lose, or tie. Yeah, that's a tough stat to look at. I'll say this, though. I appreciate it. I didn't know this stat, and I think anytime that somebody, goes out of their way to, 1, not only watch the show, 2, super chat on this program. 3, send a little education my way, which probably could have used a little bit more of it in high school and college. But I appreciate this stat. Why? Because I don't care if it's a good stat. I don't care if it's a bad stat. If you got a stat for me and you want to send it in on the Raiders Report, you're going to make me smarter. You're going to make every single watcher here smarter, and that's why I want people to subscribe to the Raiders Report. We have an amazing community here. You will become a smarter Raiders fan, and I guarantee you this, in a 1-4 season, nobody on the planet is going to put more smiles on faces than Raider Nation here on the Raiders Report, because we are truly a family. Also, I got to give a shout out to today's sponsor, PrizePicks, and if you want to get in the PrizePicks read, you already should know what you got to do. This episode, this live show is brought to you by PrizePicks. You and I make decisions every single day, but on PrizePicks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this season on PrizePicks, where it's good to be right. Justin Holliston. And PrizePicks is also the best way to get action on sports in more than 40 states, including California, Texas, Florida, and Georgia. Even though I don't think Yoda Jenkins lives in Georgia. On PrizePicks, how you play is up to you. If you want flexibility, choose FlexPlay, where you can get paid even if one of your picks misses. And I'm sure Azul Alex, that doesn't happen to you often. But if you want the biggest payouts, go for the power play. No matter your play, PrizePicks is a great way to put your takes to the test, Rebel Montana. PrizePicks, download the app today. Use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That is code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, it's good to be right. And speaking of being right, I went with a flex play. Now, I did not turn this 10 into 70. I turned this $10 into $17, but that's because I got 5 out of my 6 picks right for Monday Night Football. The only one that I did not get was the Juju Smith-Schuster more than 30.5 receiving yards. But anybody that tuned in and watched us on Monday Night Football, even if it's a game that you do not care about, you got a PrizePicks lineup in. I don't care if it's for $5. I don't care if it's for $10. I don't care if it's for $500. You're going to be really, really interested in that game, and that's why I mean this when I say this, Raider Nation. Go get started with PrizePicks. All right, let's get this question going. And if you've watched this live show this week, you've probably answered this question maybe 30 times. But every single time I go live, I want to be able to sit back here, and I want to be able to look at this question, and I want to keep on hammering it on the head because we're always going to get new watchers. We're always going to get new viewers. We're going to continuously get new people that tune into the Raiders Report. So give me a yes, give me a no. Should the Raiders bench Geno Smith? What do y'all think? And we're going to talk about this in a show that you guys are going to get on Thursday. And shout out to all of y'all. I'm going to do a segment on Geno Smith replacements. Now, I want to be very, very clear on this. I do not think that Geno's going to get benched really anytime soon. I don't think even if Geno were to get benched, the Raiders would go out and get another quarterback. I don't think Shador's going to happen. I've heard Derek Carr's name. I've heard, Russell Wilson's name. To me, it's not going to happen. It's going to be Kenny Pickett, and then if Kenny Pickett's bad and Geno gets hurt, it's probably going to be Aiden O'Connell. But I am going to do a Geno Smith replacement video. That one's going to go out on Thursday. Why? Because so many Raiders fans have asked me, and I mean this, have asked me to put together a show around potential Geno Smith replacements. So that's going to be something to keep an eye out for. So if you don't know, hit that sub button. That one's going to be dropping on Thursday. But I see Raider Anthony, Mr. Stockgarten, saying yes. Garth Rader's going to go no. It's hard to be able to say because in my heart of hearts, I don't think that any of our quarterbacks are better than Geno Smith. But then I watch the film. I see what's happening every single game day, and you got to be like, almost anything could be better than Geno Smith. Let's go to Jarrett Watson. What's up, Mr. Watson? At least I hit on my Jags money line, FKC, Raider Nation for life. What'd you say? I mean, that Monday night game yesterday was probably the most Trevor Lawrence game I've ever seen of all time. This guy is an unbelievable quarterback. This guy is an absolute disaster. He's an unbelievable quarterback. He's a disaster, and then he's an unbelievable quarterback. I mean, there were so many plays in that game yesterday that were absolutely incredible. Jarrett, I don't know if you know this, and also I don't know if United knows this, but you guys got yourself a lot of raffle tickets for an opportunity to win a signed Raiders jersey. Here's how we're going to do it today. If you send in a $5 super chat, it's 1 ticket. $20 super chat, 5 raffle tickets. $50 super chat, you get 20 tickets. A hundo is 50 tickets. Now, if you send in a Venmo, I'm going to double those tickets. So if you send in a $100 Venmo, that 50 tickets gets turned into 100. $5 Venmo, that 1 ticket gets turned into 2 tickets. If you're learning math from me, then that's definitely a you problem. Nobody on this planet should learn math from me. Now, if you're sitting there going, Mitch, which jerseys could I potentially get? I did this thing. I thought it was kind of cool. I ordered us a mystery box. And I don't know which jersey it's going to be, but here's what I do know. It's either going to be a Tim Brown, Ken Stabler, Bo Jackson, Jack Tatum, Charles Woodson, or Maxx Crosby. To steal a quote from my grandmother, and my grandmother, when she talks about her grandkids, probably most grandparents do, she says there's not a clunker in the bunch, meaning all of us are good kids. I'll say the same thing about this mystery box. There ain't a clunker in the bunch here. You tell me I can rock it signed Tim Brown, Maxx Crosby, Ken Stabler, Charles Woodson, Bo Jackson, Jack Tatum jersey? There's not a bad one in here. I was kind of saying earlier, like, if you were to see a Raiders fan, okay, and all 6 of these jerseys, the last Raider fan I'm fighting is the guy in the Jack Tatum one. Like, that's the last guy I'm picking a fight with. You see a Raider fan and a Jack Tatum jersey, I promise you this, that's not a scrap you want to get in. That's a scrap you don't want to get in. Let me know down below, out of these 6 jerseys, which one you're hoping for. 81, 98, 12, 24, 34, 32. If you want to type all those numbers down, hey, let's freaking get it going. I'll give some shout-outs here. But again, that's what the raffle tickets are for those of you that do not know. All right, let's keep rolling here through some Super Chats. Once we get through all the Super Chats, I will get into the very first segment on today's program, which is around everything that has gone wrong with the Pete Carroll and John Spytek regime so far. What's up, Dylan? Been thinking with our coaching staff handling things. Is it possible Wilkins wasn't the problem? Oh, boy. I'm so afraid to speak on anything Wilkins because, again, the information that was shared to me, it was a Wilkins issue. And to me, I think 2 things could be true. And maybe, you know, when you hear some of the other things going on with like Jermaine Pratt, JPJ, Raheem Mostert, there's a situation going on with him, at least earlier in the offseason. There's a few things where some players and coaches are kind of, yeah, there's some friction right now in the locker room, and that's basically what I was told. That's recent. Now, when you go back to the Christian Wilkins thing, I think one thing has been proven true. Christian Wilkins needs another surgery because a player of his stature, right? I don't care if he's doing weird shit in the locker room. The NFL proves to me this. When you're a good football player, we're going to push other things aside, and we're going to let you go out there and do your thing. I think it's proven at this point that Christian Wilkins needed another surgery. There has not been another NFL team that's even thought about bringing him in. We haven't heard that there's a visit. Why? Probably because they know he's not healthy. There hasn't been anything in that regard. So I do stand by my original, I guess, reporting, if you will, of what we talked about back in June, that Wilkins needed another surgery. I think that side's been proven at this point. Again, he'd be on a team. But I do wonder if things could have gone maybe in a little bit of a different direction, or I don't know. Like the Wilkins situation to me is going to be one that I think probably comes out in a year or 2 from now, and we're going, wow. Whether it's Raiders side, Wilkins side, maybe it's both sides. Really, really bad overall. Mando, what's going on, dude? I miss Tre'von Moehrig. We have 2 linebackers at safety. I miss the Tre'von Moehrig that we had on the Raiders team, a very versatile safety that coming out of college was, you know, the Jim Thorpe Award winner, could do a bunch of different things for you. But here's the thing. I don't miss Tre'von Moehrig on the contract that he's at for Carolina, and that's kind of the difficult part of it. Like, if you would have asked me, would I want the Raiders to sign Moehrig to that contract that Carolina gave him? It was like 3 years, 61, 59 million, something like that. My answer would have been no. The problem is we don't have a true free safety now. And what's frustrating is we've been saying it on this program. Raider Nation's been saying it for months. And you're kind of ruining a good player in Isaiah Paul-Amel because you're asking him to play a position that he's not meant to play. And the problem is there are so many players right now on this roster that are playing at spots that if you knew anything about the roster, you would go, I'm not going to play that guy there. And yet, our coaches are finding the way to do it. Let's go to Blake DeFran. What up, man? Mark Davis should get the most of the blame. This statement's probably, you could save this super chat and you could just save this every single year because, yeah, you're probably technically not wrong, okay? You're technically not wrong. It's a Mark Davis issue. If we're going to say it starts at the top, you're right. Mark Davis has basically took this team over, and since he's done it, it's been an absolute disaster. But here's the one thing that I will say. Mark Davis has put out a lot of money. Head coaches, GMs, trying to find the right guy. You got to be able to give him credit there. And then you look at, he paid for Pete Carroll. He thought he was going to get something. When you see all of the issues that this team has, Mark deserves blame, no doubt about it. Let's go to the next one here. Fun fact, Geno has more INTs than Jamarcus Russell in 5 games. That doesn't sound like a fun fact. That just sounds like a fact. I'll also say this, very different time of football. Like, to me, I think when you compare some of the old-time stats with current stats, it's kind of like, and almost in any sport in today's day and age, right? Like, you're not going to compare NBA defensive metrics to the 90s compared to now. You're not going to compare the steroid era for home runs. Maybe you would, steroid era for home runs compared to you would now. But, it's just very, very different eras. But, anytime you're compared against Jamarcus and you're worse, maybe that guy in Seattle had the right sign after all. What up, Rebel? Chat, do I take money line or 4.5? Oh, sorry, Reb. They're not the sponsor. PrizePicks is, though. If you want to go more or less on anything, I could help you out. I'll be real with you, man. This Raiders-Titans game, I don't think I would touch it with a 10-foot pole because you don't know what Raider team you're going to get. You don't know what Titan team you're going to get. And I mean this when I say this. I would not, and I mean it, I would not touch any Raider game from here on out with 10-foot pole. Wouldn't touch it. Ken, what is the game plan? Does Mark let the year play out? Does Tom Brady step in? What needs to happen for fans to trust this organization again? I think for fans to trust the organization, I just want proof that we got a plan in place and we're honestly executing that plan. Like, I would have been okay if the Raiders at the very, very beginning of the offseason would have looked at us and they said, hey, this year's going to be a tough year. We're in full-on rebuild mode, and that's what we're doing. We're rebuilding with a quarterback that we believe can help us be a good leader in that rebuild. The problem is the Raiders, and this is what you're going to see in a video coming up here, essentially got their way the entire offseason, and it's been an absolute complete disaster. Ken, nothing's going to change. Pete Carroll's going to be your head coach. Absolutely positively, nothing is going to change this year. Nothing's going to change next year. Quite frankly, I think that we are stuck with Pete Carroll and John Spytek over the next 3 years. I really don't think that anything in that regard is going to change. In terms of what's going to happen this year, though, I think the earliest the change happens is probably after the bye week. Because if you're the Raiders, you go, well, maybe we can figure it out after the bye week. You play that Week 9 game, and then Week 10 is Thursday Night Football, so you're probably not going to have a quick turnaround there. I'd say Week 11 to after the bye week are the most realistic quick changes. But let's get these this comment here. Confidence level in Pete Carroll. Scale it from 1 to 10. 1, you got absolutely positively no confidence in Pete Carroll at all. 10, you have all the confidence in the world in Mr. Pete Carroll. I'm seeing some 3s. I see some 1s. I see a 0 in there from Rion. Luda's going to go with 2. Ron Justice says 0. L.I. Raiders going to go with a 3. And I think what's really difficult about this question is we were hopeful this offseason. And I don't blame Raiders fans for the negative confidence level. I really don't, because I mean this when I say this. I think when you really look at it, and I looked at it, and when you see the video that I have prepared for you guys today, I think that you're going to agree with me. I think the Pete Carroll, John Spytek regime, from when they got hired to where we are now, is the worst that it's ever been compared to Gruden and Mayock. Again, this is since my time covering the team. McDaniels and Ziegler, Antonio Pierce, Tom Telesco. I mean that. I think when you look at those 4 regimes and where they are at from the moment they are hired to after the first 5 games of the season, I don't think the Raiders have ever been in a worse spot since I've covered this team. And it's because they have clearly no plan. And the plan that they had in place has been a disaster. It's I don't know what my answer is in terms of confidence level in Pete Carroll. It's not high, though. Probably a 3 at this point. Only good play from Geno was barking at Meredith on Sunday. I like that Geno was not afraid to lay into Meredith a little bit, and quite frankly, we need more players that are willing to do that, right? When you're getting your shit pushed in 40-6, and let's be honest, the Raiders have been blown out in a lot of games this season, even if the score didn't show it. We were blown out against the Commanders. I know we technically get blown out against the Chargers, but that game never felt close. And if you don't got your leaders that are able to step up there and chew into somebody, then you shouldn't be wearing that C on your chest anyway. I mean, that's why you were given the C. That's why you are paid the amount of money that you're getting paid. But at the same time, Geno had a good game against the Commanders in terms of stats. Geno had a really good game against the New England Patriots in Week 1. It's just the Geno inability to make adjustments, the Chip Kelly inability to make adjustments. Teams know what we're doing offensively. It's just, it's why I'm excited to be able to show you all my other segment today on Chip Kelly. Let's go to Bono. What up, Bono? Time to put Chuck in at least. He'll show up on time and pee with one leg up. I'll tell you this right now. If my dog Chuck was out there, Chuck can run, dude. Chuck runs like a 3.140 is the last time that I timed him, and I did actually time my dog Chuck. If you're talking about somebody else, Chuck, I think you're still talking about my dog. I don't know, dude. Chuck, I think would have a hard time right now, even on this Raiders team. But get him on special teams. Dude's an elite gunner. Let's go to Truth Bomb. Is it true Dante is getting benched for Besh? Want to see both, but hope Dante did better with his chances. And why are the first and second round picks barely being used this season? They are wide receivers. I mean, the word benched, I personally haven't heard anything in terms of like Dante's flat out getting benched for Besh. I was told last week that Besh was going to get some more opportunities. I mean, if you watched my video last week, and if you watched my video that I put out on Monday, was it Monday or no? Technically the video that I did on would have been what, Saturday, Sunday, somewhere in there, was about Jack Besh deserving more reps and just showing, honestly, how much better Besh has been in his limited snaps compared to Dante's reps. Right now, Dante he's not physical enough. His route tree clearly is very limited. I don't know if he's not seeing the ball well, if he doesn't have confidence. Like, he's a really good athlete that's not showing how athletic he is right now, and that's a little bit frustrating. He's struggling in run blocking, but, like, to me, Besh has been better in almost every single aspect of the game. Better in separation, better run block rate, better overall, like, route running concepts. He's been better in catch percentage, first downs picked up. Like, there's a lot of metrics that prove that Besh has been the better guy. But I think what's frustrating about that is when you look at the metrics, when you watch the tape, Besh has clearly been better. But because the Raiders had to play him with Dante Thornton, I think it's just another example of our coaches are, instead of being like, we were wrong, let's make the adjustment, I think they're like, we're going to stick to with what we got because we have to keep doing it over and over and over again because it's more important that we're right instead of what's doing right. Let's go to Jarrett Watson. Bench Smith. The damn Bengals just traded for Flacco. Why is our staff not trying to do anything? I mean, again, I know that we Raider fans might not have that close connection to Geno Smith, but think about like the way Raider fans talk about Derek Carr and that infatuation where people are still bringing him up and it's been 3-4 years, right? That's like the type of infatuation Pete Carroll's got with Geno Smith, and he's not going to give up on his guy. And Pete's not going to give up on his guy. And I'm not saying that Geno is a player that's rubbing guys the wrong way in the locker room. What I am saying, though, is there are right now Pete Carroll guys in that locker room that get treated a little different according to other players inside of that locker room. And I know that there's some frustration boiling over right now. I'm not going to get into all the things that I've heard over the last 24 hours, but, we talked about it yesterday before the whole Jermaine Pratt news drop. We were like, hey, man, there's some issues going on in that locker room. 2 hours later, Jermaine Pratt ends up getting released. And, it's a little bit of a snowball effect right now. But to me, the Raiders aren't doing anything because the Raiders don't want to do anything. I mean, that's the God-honest truth, And if anything we should have learned, oh, wow, big trade here. The Ravens are trading for Odafe Owe. Wait, no, other way around. The Ravens are trading Odafe Owe to the Chargers. I mean, It's still a pretty big trade. I mean, the Chargers, that's obviously not great for the AFC West for us. They're adding a little bit of extra athletic ability, but Odafe Owe heading to the Chargers, Ravens, a big, big, big trade that just went down in the NFL. Chuck said, are there any connections between the Ravens and the Chargers? I think that they do share a mom and a dad. I think that might be it. Flacco was benched. Yep, Flacco was benched. And then the Cincinnati Bengals and Browns, they just pulled off a trade probably, 2 hours ago, an hour ago at this point. And now Flacco is going to be the starting quarterback of the Bengals. Which, I hate to break it to all y'all that are like, the Raiders should trade for Shedeur. The chances were already 0. Now I think that they're -1 because they only have 2 quarterbacks on the roster. Only 2 QBs on the roster. To the 1,147 people watching this show right now. If you haven't already, make sure you guys click that like button. And if anybody is trying to get in for our duck race, please, please, please make sure you do so. $20 Venmo at Mitchell Renz 365. I don't see it in production yet if you want to put it in there. I can't because of who tweeted it. Yep. Right now, the only person in the duck race is Victor Lobos. Shout out to my guy, Victor Lobos. What up? You're always going to be papaya man to me. What's up, Mitch? Much love and respect for always putting out content for the nation. Which top 3 quarterback do you like coming out of college? Again, man, like to me, I still just got to do more homework on all these prospects. It's just way too early. I haven't actually truly sat down and looked at each and every one. The names that I'm starting to pick at a little bit, Mendoza from Indiana. You know, he looks like a prototypical quarterback that I honestly do like. Sellers, to me, looks like a really athletic guy that would be kind of an interesting offense. You put him with an Ashton Genty, and I just think about our building block players on offense. I would want a young offensive-minded coach, but building block players. JPJ, let's go power. Brock Bowers, Michael Mayer, right? Let's use those 2 tight ends a little bit more. Physical running game with Genty, build that offensive line, but Sellers would be another, and then, oh man, Mendoza, Sellers. It's definitely not Arch. He's terrible. I mean, honestly, the guy that has impressed me the most, the 2 other quarterback, Carson Beck's got to be up there. He's done a good job in Miami. And then the kid from Oregon. You know, one of the things that I loved when I watched a lot of tape, and you know, you guys can go back and look at my quarterback evaluations. I had Drake May higher than I did Caleb Williams. Why? I like the talent. Cool, calm, and collected up here. You know, I had Cam Ward. If you guys can go back and check it out, I said Cam Ward was going to be the #1 overall pick when he transferred out of Washington State. If you don't believe me, go check it out. Why? Because I thought he had it up here, and, you know, he's just cool, calm, and collected, could handle it really well. Jaden Daniels, same thing. Got better and better and better. Cool, calm, and collected up here. I think when you have that trait and you show leadership abilities, it's very important. If there's a quarterback that I'm really starting to fall in love with, the kid from Oregon, Dante Moore, that he is never phased. He's never razzled. Now, again, I'm a Penn State guy. Oregon against Indiana sounds like a game that Raider Nation needs to watch. But watching Moore and how he responded in Happy Valley in a whiteout, like, you're not going to get a more crazy atmosphere in sports. You know, like, we could sit here and we can debate home field advantages of all college football teams. You could sit here and debate, you know, home field advantage for any NFL team. I think we could honestly say that playing in a whiteout game on the road in Happy Valley, that's in the 99th percentile of difficult environments to do, and Moore never looked phased. I mean, he looked like he was just, this is a typical Saturday night, and that's the type of mentality of a leader, and that's the type of mentality of somebody that, honestly, man, I want to have with the silver and black. Let's go to Steven, because here's the thing. We're not an easy fan base to deal with. Geno Smith is a bum. The Geno Smith on the Raiders right now, that guy is a bum. The way he's played, it's absolutely positively a fair statement to make. I can't believe how bad Geno Smith has been, quite frankly. I feel like a bum for believing in him. Cam, I want to thank you, Mitch, for being commuted. Here's the thing. My commute, I walk, so it's not even a big commute to Raider Nation. No. When we lose, your energy and emotion make me laugh to keep from crying. Players win games, coaches lose them. this all falls on compete. To me, first off, greatly appreciate the super chat. And I'm a normal Raider fan just like y'all. Like, I want to be able to sit up here and be happy, talk about the Raiders winning, and, celebrate. I think that's when I'm at my best. I don't like listening to myself bitch and moan. I did not see the trade. Interesting. So full trade is the Ravens get Olai Gilman, which a good safety prospect that I did like, and a 2026 fifth, but that's because he played at Notre Dame, and I think that was the Tom Telesco connection. Chargers get Owe and a future seventh. Very interesting trade there, and that one helps out both teams. Chargers needed an edge. Ravens needed a safety. They did just sign C.J. Gardner-Johnson. You're right. And again, man, to me, if people are going to watch this show and the Raiders are going to be a shitty football team, I still want to be able to have a good time. I still want to be able to laugh. I still want to be able to, enjoy my Sundays. And I mean this. The Raiders will not ruin my Sundays anymore. The Raiders, when they play, it's not going to ruin my day anymore. If they're going to put a team out there that's probably better off being in a circus, if our coaches are going to say things that kind of, we need to be more patient, Raider Nation, all right. If you're going to say things that kind of, are just going to rub me the wrong way, I'm going to sit back and I'm going to go, well, if you're going to make a laughing out of this, I'm going to laugh about it too. So, I mean this. If you're a frustrated Raiders fan, I hope you tune into the show because we're going to have a good time no matter what. At least I hope so. Let's go to Stabler for president. What's up, my man? Spytek definitely deserves most of the blame. He was tasked with building the team, and he has done a poor job of it. I think what's really hard for me to be able to wrap my mind around is what I thought Spytek was going to do in terms of building this team, and then what's actually been done. I have not been told this. None of this information has been given to me. But I do wonder if Spytek is taking a back seat to Pete Carroll and if Pete's doing some more of the shot calling. And I only say that because I do know for a fact that John Spytek did not want Amari Cooper. And the only reason why Cooper was signed to the Raiders was because I was told that was a, quote, Pete Carroll move. So, I see a move like that, and I see how quickly it ended. And I don't know if that's how Spytek would have done it because then I also go back and look at how Spytek teams have been built. They've been built in the trenches, and, they haven't been built the way that this team was built. But I do think Spytek deserves blame. He clearly deserves blame, and it's been a name that, we've been kind of pushing to the side here a little bit, and he deserves to be. You're the general manager of the Las Vegas Raiders. It's time for you to start acting like it. And if you don't think that, if Spytek sits back there and he goes, I wasn't the one making the decisions, I mean, right now, you're a part of the Carroll regime. You are tied to Pete Carroll, and right now, it is a sinking ship for John Spytek. And I'll tell you this right now, if I was Spytek, I would start being a little bit more in the forefront and having my voice be heard, because right now you're kind of hiding in the background, and when things are going bad, you got somebody hiding in the background. I think that's a good look. It's easy to stand in front of a group of people when things are going good. I need somebody right now, because I have a hard time trusting what Pete's telling me. I have a hard time trusting what Chip's telling me. I got a hard time trusting what a lot of these guys are telling me. I need somebody that steps up to the podium when they speak words, it means something. We don't have people right now that are saying meaningful words. John, Mitch, this is the problem with Pete Carroll. There is an old saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I say that all the time. So what does he do? He tries to change the O-line. JPJ isn't playing where he should be. Number one in confidence. The Raiders just made a move. We have signed punter Brad Robbins to the practice squad. So again, A.J. Cole is dealing with a little bit of minor injury from that game last week if things, couldn't get a little bit worse. But the news is this. The Raiders have signed Brad Robbins, punter, to the practice squad. Good stuff. I agree with you, though. I look at the Raiders team this season, and it looks like a team where they were like, how can I put my stamp on it? How can everybody in the world know that this team's got my stamp on it? The problem is it's a tramp stamp. Aaron, how long until we bench practice reps? It's kind of a mind-blowing statement, and I said it earlier, and I mean this when I'm saying it. Like, Pete's been a little bit of a hypocrite, and when I say a little bit, I mean a lot of bit. And he's just saying things that they don't make sense, right? Like Pete earlier when asked, hey, can you move JPJ to center? Absolutely not. We've worked so long. We've worked so many hours all off season. We have to keep it this way. And then in terms of benching Geno Smith or making a change on the offensive line, it's only week 3. We're still learning the players. It's only week 5. We still need the practice reps. Like, he talks about how meaningless preseason is, and then he talks about how important regular season games are for practice. I just, to me, when it fits the Pete Carroll narrative, it makes sense, right? Like in Pete's mind, he's like, this makes sense because this is my plan. But when it goes against it, and that's where I'm frustrated right now because he's not saying things that make any sense. He contradicts himself all the time. Lakers and Raiders, if Pete Carroll loses the locker room, then what? I honestly, really, truly do not know. And I don't think that he will lose the locker room. Like, I think that there's enough leaders on that Raiders team, and maybe the leaders aren't standing up yet. Maybe the guys who are the leaders don't wear the C on their chest. I don't know who it is. But I really do not think that the locker room will totally be out on Pete Carroll. That I don't think could happen. I think there would be a certain coordinator that would get the boot from players way, way before Pete Carroll. Like, in all honesty, I think more players are upset with Chip Kelly and the way that he conducts himself right now around guys than Pete Carroll. I'm very confident in that statement. Let's go to Kai. Geno saying we need to develop Dante. We do need to develop Dante, though. Like, I think, again, the problem is, what were we doing all offseason? Like, what were we doing all offseason? Were we just not developing players? And if Dante needs developed, he does. He clearly does need more developing. But then let's get Jack Bech a few more opportunities. If you knew Dante and Jack Bech weren't good enough, why wouldn't you extend Jacoby Myers and show him that, you got his back a little bit? Like, I just don't understand the offensive philosophy. I don't understand the Raiders' game plan. I don't understand anything that they have done all offseason anymore. Like, I sat up here on this show, and I backed Spytek. I backed Pete. I backed Geno. I backed the Raiders' plan because in my mind, I thought, okay, this is a team following a plan. They've already shown you that the plan that they set place, Pete said it a few months ago, that this team's going to do a lot of winning. This team is going to win a lot. We're not winning a lot. And Pete even admitted, I thought we were going to win more games. My problem is if you could have looked at that Raiders roster, we all were buying into what Pete was selling because of what Pete's done in the past. But if you really looked at that roster on offense, defense from top to bottom, you would have said, man, there's a lot of holes on that team. And yet, we didn't do anything in free agency. We drafted 11 players. And honestly, you look at the 11 players that we drafted, and outside of Ashton Genty, I do want to give Darian Porter a little bit of credit. I watched some of his tape recently, and I actually think that you can see his growth as a corner. And, a guy like Genty, gotten better. Jack Bech deserves some credit in there as well. But, what is our plan? Because if we're planning for the future, we're not showing it on the field. If we're trying to win right now, we're not showing it on the field. Our off-season moves, our free agency moves, our draft moves, our everything we did all off-season is going with the complete opposite of what we're doing in the regular season. That's my problem. Rich Wolf could get Reed and Spags. We'd still be buns. I actually don't agree with that statement. Because I think one of the things that Andy Reid is very, very good at is putting his players where they are best, right? Like, when you guys heard, I don't know if y'all heard this, Pete goes, the way that we're going to replace Jermaine Pratt is with Charles Snowden, Malcolm Kuntz, and Jamal Adams. If you try to play Charles Snowden and Malcolm Kuntz as a linebacker, you're an idiot. You're an idiot, and I mean that. You are a complete idiot. Now, if you want to use Jamal Adams in the role of a linebacker with Jermaine Pratt, let's freaking let it go. Let's do it. Using Isaiah Paul-Mal as a free safety is idiotic. He's a good safety. Play him as a strong safety, right? Putting Zamir White as a kick returner. It's idiotic. There's just so many things that this team is doing, not playing JPJ at center, where it's just a pride thing. And I still believe that this team lacks talent. We lack depth. But why? Because the coaching staff decided that they didn't want to add talent when we could have added talent this offseason. It's frustrating. Richard, What's up, Mitch? Word on the street was Brady vetoed Darnold to LV. I have heard that report. I can't confirm if that's true, but that was reported a few months ago that Brady did not want Sam Darnold, and that was maybe one of the reasons. But you look at Darnold right now, and he looks really flipping good. There's no doubt about it. But there's also a part of me that wonders if the Raiders would have gone out and gotten Sam Darnold, would we be in the exact same position? Because, like Geno Smith, before he came to the Raiders, previous 3 years, was a damn good quarterback. I know people aren't going to believe it because people only like to look at box stats, and they'll look at one number over and over. But I don't know if Sam Darnold would be good on this team either because of how much of a disaster everything is from top to bottom right now. Also, was Geno a Carroll Brady move or just a Carroll move? I don't know if it was a Brady and Carroll move. I definitely know it was a Pete move. I mean, that's Pete's guy. If you were to ask me who do I think was Pete Carroll's best friend in the NFL, I would say Geno Smith. Right? I would say Geno or somebody along the lines from a previous regime like a Bobby Wagner or something. I don't know. Would you want Chip or PG as coach if Pete retires? Neither. I don't want either. At this point, I'm kind of, and again, as a Raider fan, you kind of get lulled back into the offseason. You get lulled back into the offseason hype, the hopefulness. You're trying to, just be excited about something. But all offseason, I sat up here and I begged, young, offensive-minded coach. I want somebody who is young, I want somebody who is innovative, and I want somebody who is preferably even from like a Sean McVey type of tree, right? A Shanahan tree. Like, I want somebody that is young and innovative. Like, you look at what Liam Cohen's doing right now in Jacksonville. Would have loved that move, right? A Ben Johnson and what he's doing in Chicago. They're trending in the right direction. I wanted a young, innovative, offensive-minded head coach. That's what I want. Because when you look right now at the Raiders' defense, it's outdated, and there's no adjustments being made. It looks like a bunch of old men are running a newspaper business. It looks like on the offensive side of the football, it's an outdated system, and we're not making any adjustments. Why? Because it looks like it's a bunch of old men that don't know what the hell they're doing. Josh, people who say, you're wrong about Geno are weird. Yeah, Chugs and I'm not going to lie, we're making fun of a bunch of people today at Chat Sports. And when I say people, I meant Raiders Report watchers that they'll make fun of us for being wrong about Geno, which I agree with you. Very, very weird. Very weird. What up, Gaines? It kind of seems like the current roster don't like Pete. Then given old comments about Carroll from Earl and Russ makes you wonder, what's your thoughts? I'll say this. If we're going to talk about old comments about Earl and Russ, Russell Wilson's probably one of the most disliked players in the NFL. Earl Thomas, one of the most disliked players in the NFL. So, it's kind of like it's the little boy that cried wolf. Do you believe the people that probably also have the most hate against them? But I don't know old comments. I don't know which ones you're referring to. The only thing that I can look at right now is what is currently happening with the Raiders, and there is some serious concern, serious friction inside of that locker room between players and coaches, and that's a problem. What up, Poseidon? Mitch, tomorrow is my dad's birthday. His name is Mark, and he is where I got my love for the Raiders, so you can blame him. He turned 60. Can you give him a shout-out? All right. I think I might be able to do that. Shout-out to Mark, 60 years old. I can remember when my dad turned 60. I think, for a lot of men, 60 is whew, that's a tough one. I mean, when I turned 30, I was like, whew, it's a big difference. 60's like that number. You're like, ooh, man, that's a tough one. Hey, man, happy birthday to you, Mark. Got a good kid, though. Raising him as a Raiders fan. At least he's a loyal one. What up, Stace? Chip Kelly is not for the NFL. Change Genty's stance. JPJ is a good head. I bet there was way more we don't know. Clearly, it's his way or nothing. That is one of the things that I am hearing right now, that it's kind of like, when your 5-year-old asks, but why? You say, because I said so. Why are you saying because I said so? Because they're 5 years old. And that's honestly the way that it should go. If you were to look at a grown man who's 27 years old and has gotten to the NFL, and if they go, well, why? and you say because I said so, that's not going to go over as well. I'm not saying that exactly what's happening right now with Chip Kelly, but it's not exactly kind of what's happening right now with Chip Kelly and the Raiders, based on what I'm hearing. Now, I know this. I know how I am personally, so that's why I'm asking y'all this question. And we're basically all caught up now. We got one more Super Chat to get to, two more now, and then we're going to get into the very first segment today around the Raiders and everything that's gone wrong with this current regime. But I know this because I'm a psycho, and I know how I am, and I'm sure I'm not the only one. If the Raiders were able to come away with a win against the Tennessee Titans, and then you're able to come away with a win against the Kansas City Chiefs, you go into that bye week, you're 3-4, are you going to believe again? If it's a yes, give me a yes. If you're like Mitch, no matter what's going to happen, I will not believe in this team type no. I'm going to be honest with you. My answer is going to be yes. And, if it's 2 straight ties, I'm done. Delete the channel if it's 2 straight ties. I can't do it anymore. Now, but the AFC is very open. The AFC is very, very wide open, and whether or not I believe in them as being a true playoff caliber team, if they have a shot to make the playoffs, we're going to be talking about it. And maybe you need that extra week to kind of get it going again. And I know the Raiders look like a team that could lose to the Titans, and they look like a team that's probably going to lose to the Chiefs. But at the exact same time, anybody can beat anybody, right? We beat the Patriots who beat the Bills. Anybody can beat anybody in the NFL. Maybe the Raiders can do it too. I don't know. Chase, this team has no clue what they are doing, period. I agree. Destroy the weights. Pete's ego will not start Pickett because if Pickett plays good, then that shows that Geno was the problem and Pete was wrong all along. I also agree with this statement. Again, I think at this point our coaching staff has proven that it's more important for them to be right than to do what's right. Rich, time to fire that Geno flip-off shirt. Got one, too. Yeah, I mean, I was literally thinking about this today I love my Geno flip-off shirt. I love the swagger of Geno Smith in that moment. And, man, if I could go back to thinking like that, if we got that Geno Smith, what this team would look like, what this season would look like, bro, it's the swaggiest shirt I own, and I can't wear it.
It's annoying because I got my Mark Sanchez jersey last week.
Oh, man.
And
yeah, now it's a gut punch.
Yeah, can't wear it now. Can't wear the Mark Sanchez jersey anymore. That's rough.
It's a butt fumble. If you had to choose replacements for our coaches, who would you consider?
Let's see. Andy Reid. I'd probably go Kyle Shanahan.
I would, I mean, in all honesty, I think what good organizations do is they bring in people that they think that they work well together. I would say give me a young offensive-minded coach, and then who does he think he should bring in?
If Mike McDaniel gets fired.
I think Mike McDaniel would be a great OC. Not a head coach. I think he's proven that he can't be a head coach. Mike McDaniel kind of falls in that bucket of he's a really, really fun guy, and I do think he knows the X's and O's. But the Dolphins clearly are very out of whack in terms of a disciplinary area. And, that's the other really concerning part. Wait till you see some of these stats I have on how undisciplined this Raiders team is. Like,
would you trade your next 2 first-round picks for Sean McVay?
Yes. Yeah, I would. At this point, because I don't give a shit who we draft. If we don't have somebody that knows what they're doing, and Sean McVay, in my opinion, I think you make an argument he might be the best coach in the NFL. 2 first-round picks, I would do it in a heartbeat. I don't think the Rams would. I think the Rams would ask for a lot more. Like right now, if Sean McVay is the head coach of this Raiders team,
right, yes
I
or
think
no?
we are at worst 3.
Yes or no? 3 first-round picks for Sean McVay. Give me a yes, give me a no in the comment section. If the Rams came to you and said, hey, we'll trade you Sean McVay, but we want 3 first-rounders, would you say yes or no?
I mean, how old is Sean? He's 39 years old. That means we have Sean McVay for probably the next 20 years.
I see a lot of no's rolling in.
That's fine. It's a lot of picks. The only thing that would scare me with McVay is he was thinking about going to Amazon because Amazon offered him like a bunch of money a few years ago, but he stayed in L.A.
I see a lot of
no's. I mean,
what if I told you a lot of people saying, Hell no. What if I told you could get Sean McVay for Cleveland Ferrell, Jonathan Abrams, and Josh Jacobs?
What if I told you Sean McVay's won a Super Bowl and been one of the most winningest coaches over the past 5 to 6 years with the least amount of first-round picks? He's only had one first-round pick since 2016. Think about that. They've just traded away all their first-round picks.
How about this? You get Sean McVay, and you have to trade away Alex Leatherwood, Tyree Wilson.
Oh, that's tough.
And, I don't know, JPJ. We'll throw in 2 firsts and a second.
7 first-round picks. Cleveland Ferrell, Josh Jacobs, Jonathan Abram, Alex Leatherwood, Damon Arnett, Henry Ruggs, Tyree Wilson, straight up for Sean McVay. Sounds like a pretty good deal.
That's a lot of firsts.
Sounds like a pretty good deal.
Dylan Sharp says he would trade straight up Maxx Crosby for Sean McVay.
Ooh, boy. I'm not going to lie to you. I would too. Real Cowboy, PC is the epitome of you can't teach an old dog new tricks. Yeah. Again, Sean McVay or Pete Carroll's the epitome of you're going the wrong way. Why don't you ask for directions? No, I know exactly where I'm going, but you're going the wrong way. With Pete and Spytek safe from being let go, what's the chances next year Spytek takes control and goes all in with the trenches with free agency and the draft? I wish I could give you an answer, and I say that because I was told one thing this offseason, and I made it very, very clear to everybody how I felt and what this team was going to do. And again, when I'm given what I'm given most of the time, and I was given a plan, I thought that they would stick to it. Now, Spytek and Pete got to prove to me that their words matter. They got to prove to me that what they say matters, that their actions are going to back it up. Talk is cheap. And the Raiders did a lot of talking. Pete did a lot of talking. Geno did a lot of talking. Spytek, in a sense, did a lot of talking on the back end.
I don't think we're going to catch up before we get to the first segment. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to save David Wright, John Rodriguez, Rebel Montana, and whoever else super chats. We'll get to those after this first segment. But I have a simple question before we get into the first segment on today's show, Mitch. Do you think that we deserve better?
Without a doubt. Without a doubt.
There's 1,181 people watching.
Without a doubt.
And over 700 people, Mitch, don't think we deserve better. It's simple. If you think Raider Nation...
You're probably watching from yesterday still. We got a few Chiefs fans.
If you think Raider Nation deserves better, like the video. If not, you can not like the video. If you think this is... If this is good for the nation. If you think this is... Hey, I'm okay with how the Raiders are being run right now.
That would be crazy.
I'm just saying, a lot of people, you say you want to be better, and I'm saying one step, hit the like button, and you're like, that's too much for me. And you expect Pete Carroll to do all this and that. That's all I'm saying. You expect Pete Carroll to move mountains, and I'm like, hey, like the video if you think we deserve better, and you're like, that's a lot to do, man.
My fingers hurt.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah? Now your back's going to hurt.
Yeah.
You just pulled
I'm just saying, a lot of people are a lot of talk out there, not a lot of action. A lot of talk the talk, not a lot of walk the walk right now.
If you guys want to get in our duck race, it's a $20 Venmo at Mitchell Renz 365. Right now you're in for $20 to win $80 here on tonight's program. Though I don't know what YouTube's doing right now. Everything on my end looks completely different.
So now you see why we were 2 minutes late.
I'm not kidding you. I'm lost right now.
They completely redid all of YouTube Studio last night or this morning.
I'm not kidding you when I say this.
You got to go down to.
I'm lost.
You got to go to stream settings and then go down and go right.
I know, but I can't look at what I usually look at.
I know, because it sucks. YouTube did a shitty job.
I'm like trying to figure out where y'all are at.
YouTube hired Pete Carroll.
Brennan Carroll. Brought them all in and said, hey.
That's even worse.
YouTube's not broken. Let's fix it. YouTube's not broken. Let's fix it. Deserve way better. I hear y'all, man.
I don't know. 500 people still don't think that y'all deserve better. That's all I'm saying.
That's pretty wild. Pretty flippin' wild. All right, y'all. Let's talk about this Pete Carroll, John Spytek circus. And the show that I'm going to do, Jeremy thinks it's going to take me 30 minutes. I'm here to prove to y'all I'm not going to take 30 minutes. There's a lot in here. There is. And essentially what I did over the past 24 hours, I tried to go back and I tried to look at every single thing that I believe this regime did wrong starting from that hire.
Claridge, calling me corny? All good. I know you eat corn the long way, Claridge. Claridge is just over there with his cob, just that's you, Claridge. Claridge is just deep throating those kernels.
Is it with butter or no butter?
Oh no, he goes dry. He likes to feel the ribs in his throat. That's what Claridge is.
All right.
Claridge is all ribs. Exactly, Claridge. You're proving my point right now. A lot of talk. A lot of talk. If Claridge was here,
hopefully you just hit the like button.
If Claridge was here, he'd be pissing in the corner. Because he's all talk, he's a keyboard warrior.
The lone stranger. What up, Sanchez? Rock, I don't know. Rocky, I don't know what you're typing here, but if you want to get it up on screen, you can use hashtag Raiders. All right, y'all. Let's do this. What I want to do is I want to be able to get into the very, very first segment here on today's program. Okay? First thing I want to do, we're going to go through everything that I think ended up happening. Then I'm going to get into some of the offensive struggles for Chip Kelly. Then a Tuna's top 5. Then a Venmo duck race. And I'm going to get on out of here. So.
Sorry, I didn't mean to let the basement warriors get me riled up today. a lot of people are their grandma's telling them to hush down. They're getting too loud in the basement. My bad.
So here we go. Coming up on today's show, the Pete Carroll and John Spytek circus. It's been a circus. Let's talk about it. What a complete disaster. Some might say worst case scenario. And I mean that because the hiring of Pete Carroll and John Spytek has been worst case scenario for the Las Vegas Raiders. And coming up here on today's program, I am going to go through every single thing that this current regime has done wrong on the offensive side of the football, on the defensive side of the football, on special teams included from the very moment that they were hired, because I want people to see and understand that this 1-4 Raiders team that looks completely lost, that this might be worse than Gruden and Mayock, might be worse than McDaniels and Ziegler, might be worse than Antonio Pierce and Tom Telesco. And the only reason why we're not saying it is because of the name Pete Carroll and what he did before. I don't give a shit what you did before. I'm looking at the product right now, and this is the worst Raiders team that I have seen in terms of a plan put together by a head coach and GM. The execution has been absolute dog shit, and it's time that we turn up the heat a little bit here if they're not going to look themselves in the mirror and admit fault. So here's the question that I want to know from every single person that tunes in to this show. What's the worst regime? Was it Gruden and Mayock? Type 1. McDaniels and Ziegler? Type 2. Antonio Pierce Telesco? Type 3. Pete Carroll and John Spytek? I want you to type 4, and I mean it. You come across this show, you better give me one of those answers, because here's my personal opinion. You could make a legit argument. And quite frankly, the reason why I want y'all to watch this video, the reason why, I mean it. I hope y'all hit the like button. I hope you hit the share button. I hope you hit the hype button. And I hope that this video goes viral, because I want the entire world to see that through 5 games, again, only 5 games, from the moment that Pete Carroll was hired, the moment John Spytek was hired, where we are at now, it's the worst regime that the Raiders have put together in a very, very long time, and I'm going to prove it today here on the Raiders Report. Here's why I think when you really talk about the very, very beginning of it, you got to discuss it. Because when you talk about all the other regimes, they didn't get everything that Pete Carroll and this regime are getting. The Raiders had the second most money in salary cap space to add talent throughout all of the months, February, March, April, May, June, July, August. You had all these months to be able to improve this team. Second most salary cap space. You decided not to. The Raiders had 11 total picks in the 2025 NFL Draft. And you know what? Pete Carroll and John Spytek have gotten everything, every single thing that they have asked for. And when you're given every single thing that you've asked for and you got all this and the product is what the product is, that's why you can make a legit argument this is the worst regime that Mark Davis maybe has ever hired. So here's what I'm saying. The Raiders plan, it's failing. Pete Carroll, he expected to win this season. He said back in July, we are going to win a bunch, and I don't care who hears it. Well, guess what, Pete? I hope you hear this. What you've done so far is make the Raiders the laughingstock of the NFL yet again, and you're not man enough to be able to realize that the plan that you have put in place, that the issues that you have brought in are a lot of the issues that you have done yourself, because to fail this bad with what the Raiders had, it's beyond concerning. Because for a football team that thought that they were going to win, but now look like that they should tank, but yet you're not using the players that you're trying to rebuild with, you're just using old guys that you brought in because they're part of your guys. It is an entire issue right now that I really do not think that, the casual Raider fans are rallying behind. I know the real ones know how bad it is, and I hate being this upset about it, but I really honestly think the only reason why the panic button hasn't been hit as much as the panic button's been hit, it's because it's Pete Carroll. He'll figure it out. I don't know if he is going to figure it out based on how lost this team is right now. So here's a brand new feature on YouTube, and I'm going to ask you all to do this. If you're a frustrated Raiders fan, the number one way that our video is going to be able to really hit that jet stream is if you hit that hype button. Some of you might go, Mitch, what the heck is a hype button? When you're looking on your YouTube, right, you click on this video, you look at the comments. Well, on that comment bar, I want you to scroll to the right. You're then going to see something pop up. It says hype. You get 3 hypes per week. It's a brand new YouTube feature. I want to get this video in the jet stream. I want Mark Davis to see it. I want Pete Carroll to see it. I want John Spytek to see it. I want every single Raiders player to see this video because this really illustrates everything that has gone wrong with this current Raiders regime. So the way that I want to start this video off, let's go through the offensive side of the ball. And this is going to be a long video. I am literally going to go through all of the issues. That way, people who didn't watch this show every single day, that way casual NFL fans can see actually all the flipping issues with this team. Let's first talk about you made Chip Kelly the highest paid offensive coordinator. You gave him $6 million, and what has he shown for you? We are 30th in points per game. The Raiders last season, they averaged 18.2, and you just talk about that little bit right here. You got a brand new quarterback, got a brand new, lot more talented offense, and Chip Kelly's doing worse than Luke flipping Getsy. Then you got 2 Nepo hires. You decided to hire your son, Brennan Carroll, who's never shown you that he's good enough to be an NFL coach. And then you also hired Nate Carroll, who's your quarterback coach and game management guy. So 2 Nepo hires, which maybe that's rubbing some people the wrong way. Then not only did you go out and trade for Geno Smith, and at the time I was on board for that deal, but before he ever played a snap, you decided to give him a multi-year extension, and this right now looks like an absolute disaster because if you cut him next offseason, sure, you're only going to have to eat $18 million, but we didn't want to have to deal with another Jimmy Garoppolo, another Gardner Minshew, and yet that's what Geno's been. He's been worse than Jimmy Garoppolo and Gardner flipping Minshew. Then, to help out our offensive line, the biggest need that we had this offseason on the offensive side of the football, not named quarterback, was we needed help on the interior. You decided to go out and sign Alex Kappa to a 2-year deal when everybody told you it was a terrible decision because he was the worst offensive lineman the year before in the NFL. And guess what you found out? That he's still one of the worst offensive linemen in the NFL. Then, the Jacoby Myers situation. He wants a brand new contract. You say, no, I don't give a shit that you did everything right this offseason. I'm not going to give you a contract extension. Jacoby says, well, then trade me. 2 days later, you go out and you sign Amari Cooper. That rubs some players the wrong way because Jacoby did everything right. You didn't honor him. You kind of gave him a big old middle finger. You go out and sign Amari Cooper. Amari Cooper retires, a few days later because he's fat and lazy? That was a Pete Carroll move. Then you go out, you draft Ashton Jeanty, number 6 overall. I love the Jeanty move. I think all Raider fans love the Jeanty move. The frustrating part was we also sat up here and told you if you're going to draft Jeanty, you better adjust that offensive line. Instead, you found a way to make the offensive line worse. Brennan Carroll comes in. The entire O-line regressed. Not named Colt Miller. DJ Glaze got worse. JPJ's gotten worse. Jordan Meredith has gotten worse. Dylan Parham has gotten worse. Now, they've played better the past 2 weeks. I will give them credit for that. But the entire offensive line played much better under Joe Philbin, and we were 16th in pass blocking rate. 7th in pass blocking rate, 16th in run blocking rate. You decided to change it, and we were one of the worst offensive lines entering the first 3 weeks of the season. Then, what did you decide to do? You decided to put your guys ahead of what's best for the team. You decided to bench JPJ for Alex Kappa. Anybody that's got an ounce of football knowledge knows that JPJ is light years better than Alex Kappa, but you got too much of an ego problem to be able to look yourself in the mirror and actually realize that. Then you're not playing JPJ at center. You know what I want? I want a young player that's my best interior offensive lineman to want to be the center. He introduced Ashton Jeanty himself. Hey, I'm going to be your center. He wants to be your center. You're telling me right now a guy who's clearly the best center on your football team, and you're going to say that you're not going to put him there when he wants to be there? I want guys that want to play. That's what I want. And you said, no, I'm not going to do that. Why? You decided to move Jordan Meredith. You decided to move Dylan Parham. And I know that Parham can play on a few different spots across the offensive line, but moving Meredith to center only hurt Meredith. Moving Parham after a solid year at right guard only hurt Parham, and you're hurting your interior offensive line, which hurts your quarterback, Geno Smith, which hurts the running back that you drafted number 6 overall. Another issue that the Raiders did. Brock Bowers ended up getting hurt. Anybody that had eyeballs could tell that Brock Bowers was not 100% healthy, and instead of allowing him to rest up and get right, you let him play clearly unhealthy, and now he's still not 100%, and he's missing football games when right now we need to be able to figure out a way to get this offense on track, but we can't get it on track because our best option on offense is not 100% healthy, and he's not available. Why the hell was that the plan? What about Mostert? Mostert was benched for 3 weeks. Why? Because a 32-year-old running back didn't want to play special teams, but our coaching staff said, no, you're going to play special teams. Mostert was like, if you want the best part of me on offense, I can't play special teams. I'm not a spring chicken anymore. And the Raiders said, well, you know what? No, we're going to bench you, and we're going to do instead put Zamir White out on the field. Have you seen how much better Raheem Mostert is than Zamir White? You're not properly using Trey Tucker. Trey Tucker's separation is through the roof. How he's not getting more targets, how he's not getting more opportunities overall is honestly a little bit frustrating, because when you watch the film, you can see Trey Tucker deserves more and more and more opportunities. And yet, since that 3-touchdown game, Chip Kelly hasn't made it very important to get him involved in this offense. What about the Jeanty stance? I think this is a minor one, but I think, there's certain things you go back and you look at what happened in the offseason, and I think that that's an issue that's leading up here today. We got a bunch of coaches that are going, I'm smarter than you. If it's not broken, I don't give a shit. I'm still going to try to fix it, and what I say goes. Why? Oh, it's because what I say goes. Chip, when you talk to grown NFL athletes like they're 5-year-olds, of course that's going to rub them the wrong way, and you made him change his stance, and since he went back to his stance, Ashton Jeanty has never looked better since being a member of the Las Vegas Raiders. What about this? Not using Jeanty properly the first 3 weeks. You continue to just run him at a pistol right in the back of your center, right in the back of your center. You didn't do any outside zone reads. Shocker, now you're doing more outside zone reads, and you're having a little bit more success. You didn't throw the football to him. Why? Oh, because Jeanty couldn't do X, Y, Z. Oh, but now you're realizing when you put the ball in your best player's hands on offense, that good shit happens. It's not rocket science. Let's talk about the draft. Let's keep it moving. Jack Bech and Dante Thornton Jr. Jack Bech is clearly outplaying Dante Thornton Jr., and I'm not saying that as a knock on Dante, but the Raiders' plan was to have Dante over Jack. Instead of admitting that Jack has outplayed Dante, they're still just continuously putting out Dante Thornton Jr. when he needs time to develop. But both of these receivers, I also don't think have shown the full development that we were hoping for, because you needed these two guys to develop, especially if you're not going to go out and pay Jacoby Myers. What about the two offensive linemen we drafted in the 3rd round? The two offensive linemen we drafted in the 3rd round, if this was a rebuild, makes a lot of sense. But it sounds like it's not a rebuild. Now you got Charles Grant, who's still developing. Caleb Rogers seems like a little bit of a reach at this point. And these are two offensive linemen that barely see any playing time, and they barely are even active on game day. What about Tommy Millott? You ended up cutting a quarterback they ended up drafting in the 6th round. And I know it's not that big of a deal, but we maybe could have used that 6th round pick for extra draft or extra depth, which we clearly need. Cam Miller, another guy you draft in the 6th round. He's on the practice squad. And I know that might not seem like a big deal, but in a sense, you could have drafted a quarterback, which could have helped you instead of going out and trading for a Kenny Pickett. You could have saved that draft capital, but it's because you took 2 swings and misses, and unfortunately, that's where we're at. And then AOC. People talk a lot about Aiden O'Connell wanting him to be the starting quarterback of this Raiders team, but does not anybody remember how bad he was in the preseason? So to me, it's like Geno Smith regressed horribly, and he looks so much worse this season. You know who also has looked way, way worse compared to he's ever looked before? Aiden O'Connell. Look at Aiden O'Connell this past preseason, and then go look at what Aiden O'Connell has done previously with the Raiders. The worst Aiden O'Connell I've ever seen was this preseason. This is just the offense. We're just getting this party started. Coming up next year on the program, we are going to get into the issues on the defensive side of the football for the Las Vegas Raiders. And guess what? We're going to keep on turning up the heat because, Pete, it's supposed to be a defensive-minded head coach. Now, as you can see, I'm losing my flipping mind. And I need something to be able to watch. I need something to be able to enjoy. And if you're a Raiders fan and you feel that exact same way, if you plan on Tuna then every single time we go live, well, hey, at least get a PrizePicks lineup in. That way you got some opportunities to put some money in your pocket. And PrizePicks, for those that do not know, it's simple to play. You just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. If you get your picks right, you can cash in and win up to 2,000 times your money. Join millions of users and sign up for America's #1 fantasy sports app. On PrizePicks, how you play, it's up to you. If you want flexibility, choose a flex play where you can get paid even if one of your picks misses. And if you want the biggest payouts, go for the power play. No matter your play, PrizePicks is a great way to put your takes to the test. So if you want to roll with me, download the app today. Use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That is code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, it's good to be right. And maybe you tuned in when we were live for Monday Night Football, because one of the things that PrizePicks is doing that I love, and they are the only app that offers stacks, meaning that you can pick the same player up to 3 times in the same lineup. So if you want to go more on Geno Smith passing touchdowns, passing yards, pass completions, you're going to be able to do that. This is the lineup that I rolled with Monday night. I did not go 10 to win 70. Unfortunately, Juju Smith-Schuster did not hit the more on the receiving yards, but I did get 5 out of the 6, so I turned that 10 into, I think it was $17.50, I believe is what it ended up being. Bottom line is, though, I hate the Chiefs. That Monday Night Football game was fun to watch. Why? Not only did the Chiefs lose, give me an FKC, but also I was able to put a little bit of money in my pocket. Let's go now to the issues on the defense for the Las Vegas Raiders, starting all the way back when Pete Carroll was hired. That's how we're going to do it every single time. First thing you do, you give Patrick Graham a raise. You go $4 million, and then what did you do? You gave a guy a raise for doing a good job, and then you changed everything about his defense. Now you're just making him run cover 3 over and over and over again. The Raiders are 23rd in the NFL right now in points per game, allowing 27.8. They allowed 25.5 last season. And also, they got the 4th highest missed tackle rate. You gave a guy a raise, and then you changed what he did. Think about that for a second. Then you lost talent. You didn't try to replace it. You lost Tre'von Moehrig. You lost Robert Spillane. You lost Nate Hobbs. You lost a lot of talent on the defensive side of the football. And with the second most money in salary cap, you decided to just do the Kai Blue Kelly experiment and a bunch of other players that were castaways. And guess what? When you look at the defense that you're running, you are stacking the box. You're giving up all these plays in the middle of the field because when you're running cover 3, you need to have some talent in that secondary. And I thought we had a secondary whisperer in Pete Carroll, but apparently he's not whispering anything because every single position has regressed. Our defensive ends, that unit has gotten worse. Our defensive tackle group has gotten worse. I'm speaking in terms of last season. Linebackers have gotten worse. Safeties have gotten worse. Cornerbacks have gotten worse. I challenge a single Raider fan out there to give me one position group on defense that has improved this season. You can't do it. It's impossible. Then you look at the whole Christian Wilkins situation. I don't know what the hell that situation was. Nobody knows what that situation was. But it kind of looks now like a situation that's like, was that a Raiders problem? Still clearly a Wilkins problem because he'd be playing if he was healthy. Clearly needed that second surgery. But that's a weird situation, no doubt about it. But you know what else is a weird situation? Jermaine Pratt, your best linebacker, arguably, him getting released and you not even bring him to Indy. I will say this. I heard an interesting story from a source of mine that was the Raiders did not want Jermaine Pratt to go to Indianapolis to be able to talk to Lou A., and I can never pronounce his last name. Lou A. was the defensive coordinator for the Cincinnati Bengals, and I wouldn't be surprised if Jermaine Pratt either goes back to Cincy or ends up going to the Indianapolis Colts. Maybe that's one of the reasons why Pratt was unable to go to that game in Indy. Again, he was a healthy scratch. Let's talk about the Devin White signing. I get you lost Robert Spillane, and losing a guy like Spillane, it sucks. I don't think that you would have been able to match 3 for 37, but now you're trying to get a linebacker that's horrific in coverage, and you're asking him to cover. If you allow him to be an athlete, get north and south, let him be an athlete and get north and south. Quite frankly, the way that the Raiders were playing Devin White and Jermaine Pratt, they should have flipped them. Put Pratt back as a linebacker. Put Devin White on the defensive line. That would have worked out a lot better. Malcolm Kuntz looks completely lost. Malcolm Kuntz looks as lost as what he did compared to like when Josh McDaniels took over. I mean, he looks like one of the worst edge rushers in the NFL. In terms of 109 edge rushers of PFF, he is ranked 100. You know who else is really bad? Isaiah Pola-Mao. Now, I don't think Pola-Mao is a bad player. You're just not playing him in the correct position. He's a strong safety. I said it. You said it. The entire world that follows this team and it's got an ounce of knowledge around this team knows that Pola-Mao is not a free safety. And instead of developing a player, like the Pola-Mao situation is why Raider fans should be very, very concerned about this regime. Because Pola-Mao got better and better and better every single year as a box safety. And they go, nah, let's do this. Let's put him at free safety. And now he's the worst free safety in the NFL. 79th out of 79th according to the PFF. He's lost back there. Why? He's not a free safety. Then Tyree Wilson. He's playing more defensive end than defensive tackle. We know that that's not a good decision. He showed you in the preseason how much better he was at defensive tackle. He showed you this whole offseason how much better he was at defensive tackle. Yep. Let's just keep rolling him out there at defensive end. Porter. Darian Porter. Somebody that you drafted in round 3, 68 overall, you ended up benching him for Kai Blue Kelly. And I don't know if y'all have been keeping up to date with Kai Blue Kelly. He has allowed 346 receiving yards this season, the most in the NFL. Second place, Riley Moss, 262. The Kai Blue Kelly experiment is just a slight example of this Raiders coaching staff failing to admit that they were wrong, and instead of failing to admit they're wrong, they're going to call games practice, and we don't need any more practice. Practice. We're sitting here talking about practice. Now, if you're a Raiders fan and you believe that the nation deserves better, I want you to hit that subscribe button because I want you to become a smarter fan. People that watch this show are going to understand all the issues, but I also need this show to continue to grow. I need Raider fans to keep on getting smarter and smarter. I'm not saying I'm the only one that's going to be dropping facts. If you're a part of this community, people are dropping facts all the time in the chat. I mean this when I say this. At times like this, we need smarter Raiders fans, but we also need a community. And that's what we're building here on the Raiders Report. Let's talk about now the players that you drafted. Darian Porter has logged 99 snaps and actually has looked much better recently. And yet, you're still playing Kai Blue Kelly over Darian Porter. Tonka Hemingway, somebody you drafted in the 4th round. He's only got 25 snaps this season. With a 1-4 team that clearly should be rebuilding, we're not playing our younger players. Instead, we're just keep rolling out old guys who also have regressed. Tonka Hemingway, 25 snaps. J.J. Pegues, the other defensive tackle slash, I don't know, weapon that you could use maybe as a fullback. He's logged only 27 snaps. Cody Lindenberg, who you drafted in the 7th round, hasn't logged any snaps. So you're telling me a 1-4 football team that had 11 draft picks, you're really not playing any of those guys? Yes, that's exactly what I'm telling you. Think about that. Crosby, he's in a career low year in terms of win and pressure rate. Also, he's being dropped back into coverage. Him and Malcolm are being dropped back into coverage more this season than they ever have in the history of them being Raiders, and that blows my absolute mind because nobody thinks that that's a good idea. And Maxx has had some good games, but Maxx also has not contributed as much as what he has done in the past. And when Maxx Crosby is putting up career lows across the board in certain metrics, you got to pay attention to that because that literally means from top to bottom, we have regressed as a football team, and that is a coaching thing. That's a coaching thing. Now, let's talk about special teams because I've shown you how bad they failed on offense and defense. Special teams, you want my honest opinion? The fall guy is going to be Tom McMahon. Somebody asked me the other day who I think is the first coach fired for the Raiders, it's going to be Tom McMahon. Lock it in. You can save this video. Somebody tweeted out there, shit, I'll retweet it. Tom McMahon's going to be the first Raiders coach fired, and it's because of how bad our special teams unit is. But I mean this when I say this. If we deserve better, hit that like button if you think the Raiders are failing in all three phases. I'm asking y'all to do a lot. Why? Because I need people to realize how bad Pete Carroll and John Spytek and this entire coaching staff is failing right now in all three phases. Let's now go to special teams here. The Las Vegas Raiders, right now on special teams, are ranked dead last in EPA, which is expected points added. They are also ranked dead last on special teams in DVOA. For those of you that don't know, defensive adjusted value over average. And right now, currently, the Raiders are on pace for the league record lowest EPA special teams history. We right now have the worst special teams unit in the history of the NFL when you look at EPA. Think about it. A.J. Cole, the NFL's best punter. He is a little bit banged up right now, and at the time I'm recording this video, the Raiders did sign a punter to their practice squad, and that punter's name, I can't find it. Doesn't matter. They signed a punter to the practice. Brad Robbins to the practice squad. Shout out to 19. But A.J. Cole, who was looked at as the best punter in the NFL, is having his worst year of his life. Worst year of his NFL career, and it's not even close. Then you lost the game due to a blocked field goal, because I get it. Michael Mayer, he was out in that game. The guy who's usually protecting that right side ended up being Jonah Lalou, and he's not ready for that spot. But a good coach also would have been able to predict that, hey, Jacob Moyer might bob his head here a little bit, and that's how they timed up that kick. But also, you've given up a punt return touchdown. You also gave up a block punt, which got your punter hurt. And I don't know how many of y'all remember, there was also a kick return touchdown that got called back, and what I would say, honestly, a phantom holding call. But when you're talking about punting and kick returning, all the special teams, the Raiders are failing. You started Zamir White as a kick returner. You want the ultimate proof that your coaching staff has no idea what type of players they have on the roster? Here you go. A guy that has fumbling issues, that's got no explosive ability, and can't see holes. Yep, let's put him at kick return. Then, you are 30th in the NFL in missed special teams tackles. That's not good, especially for a team that preaches and predicates special teams all the time. Also, this stat, I found this one, thought it was pretty cool. Opponents start at the 37-yard line. For the Raiders, that is dead last in the NFL, meaning when the Raiders punt, when the Raiders kick, on average, that opposing team starts at the 37-yard line. Dead last in the NFL. For the Raiders, they start their drives at the 26-yard line. Dead last in the NFL. Why? Holding, bad returnment, guys not knowing their responsibilities. When I say this, I mean it. The Raiders are failing in all three aspects, on offense, defense, special teams, way worse than any regime that this Raiders organization has ever had. So in conclusion, the Pete Carroll and John Spytek regime has been worse than Josh McDaniels and Antonio Pierce, and I mean that when I say that. They've been worse because they've gotten everything that they could have asked for, and then some on top of that. You got a quarterback. You went out and you got your OC. You went out and you got a raise for Patrick Graham. You got to build exactly what you wanted with the second most money in salary cap space, with 11 draft picks in total. You were not only failing this year, you were also failing for the plan to rebuild this team, because we're not rebuilding. We're not doing it right now, and that's concerning. This regime got everything they asked for and are a complete disaster on and off the field, because right now there's locker room issues. I've done this show for a long time, and I mean it when I say it. The Pete Carroll and John Spytek regime is an absolute worst-case scenario. It's a flippin' circus, and I need people to share this video so the entire world and Mark Davis realizes how bad it truly is.
National Taco Day. Flour or corn?
Was it 30 minutes? It had to be close.
Let's see.
I was hustling through that one.
Oh, no, I think you're just short.
Just short?
I think it's 28 minutes.
Oh, shit. I was hustling, man.
National Taco Day. Flour or corn?
I was hustling. So, yes, today is National Taco Day. The first Tuesday of every October is apparently National Taco Day. I learned it today. Very important question in my household. I'll tell you that right now.
Bobby Hernandez asked, can I get a, oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Chuck, can you just hold this down? I'm going to go get some more water if I can.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, you got to stay hydrated with
the how.
How? No, for real. Great water, though. Me and Mitch, especially Mitch, working these double Monday days, going crazy. Yeah, you need it. If it's white people tacos, then flour. If it's Mexican people tacos, then corn from Nick Sanchez. I agree. White people taco night. I'm not a big crunchy taco guy. I think crunchy tacos are okay. I'm actually more team tostada. Little tostadas. Get some refried beans and some meat on top.
Yum, yum, yum.
Yum, yum. Get you some.
I'll
Mitch,
say this. If I'm going to go get street tacos, it's corn. If I order tacos, like, to my house or here, like, to work, it's always flour. I don't like corn that's been, like, sent to me. I just think it's I think it just tastes a little bit different. But I used to love hard shells. I used to only eat hard shells. Now it's by far my least favorite.
Really?
I'd still probably say flour, I'm not going to lie, which might be unpopular, but a good corn tortilla beats a good flour tortilla.
My wife hates flour tortillas, so we usually get corn.
I mean, Alex and her family, flour is like voodoo. Like, you just don't do it. But I'm white.
You gotta
W-H-I-T.
You got to cook the corn tortillas, though.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Rebel, I'd rather be a Raider fan than a Jets fan. I hope my dad's here to see that one. David Wright, what's up, man? Remember when Chip did this with the Eagles roster? Yes, but that was with him being a head coach. Like, I thought it was just going to be Chip Kelly, X's and O's, right? If you're just like, hey, Chip, just do the X's and O's. I don't need you to be a dickhead to everybody in the entire world. But I don't know. Like, I'm telling y'all right now, it's the Chip Kelly hire is really concerning to me again, because dude got a raise, and I don't know what the plan is. Because originally, when the Raiders hired Chip and they hired, PG, or they, I guess, gave PG a raise, I said that the most risky hire the Raiders could have done was to hire Pete Carroll. Why? Because you're hiring somebody that essentially you got to get 2 head coaching hires right. Because Pete Carroll's 74 years old. You have to be able to find somebody that replaces him. And when you really talk about this regime and why I'm concerned, I would imagine that they thought in their mind that it's either going to be Chip Kelly or Patrick Graham. If I had to guess, Chip Kelly in their mind probably was going to be that predecessor to Pete, because if you're winning and you're doing well, you want to be able to keep somebody in that regime. If it's a disaster, well, then you might clean house. You might figure out a way to change some stuff around. But to me, I think Chip Kelly was their plan to be that head coach for once Pete left. Now, I was also told apparently Brennan was in that running, but that was a while ago.
No idea what it is, but your dad says I agree.
Oh, in terms of
no context. It's just in the comment section. He just goes, I agree.
I agree.
I think somebody said something about a pink taco, so maybe
he's like, I like him crunchy. John.
Crunchy pink tacos.
Tick-tock, tick-tock, tick-tock. Do you hear that, my Raider Nation family? It's only a matter of time before either Maxx or the organization decides to call it quits and decide to trade Maxx for high picks.
I actually agree with this.
I completely agree with this. I mean, if you're going to go full rebuild, you got to sell some of your assets. Like, to me right now, I think the sooner Raider Nation, I don't think Maxx gets traded this year. I do think it's a possibility this offseason.
I think Maxx gets traded to the Cowboys.
That would be interesting. I mean, I'll tell you what, Jerry would pay Maxx. Maxx would fit in great down here in Dallas. Got a lot of family members down here. But I don't think Maxx gets traded this year. I really, really don't. Again, the way that they structured his contract based on things that I've been told, Maxx, the plan was 2027. 2027 was that window, but
Project 2027.
I would say right now, Jacoby Myers, if you were to ask me, will Jacoby Myers, is there a better chance that Jacoby's on another team or the Raiders? I would say there's a better chance that Jacoby Myers on another football team than the Raiders by the end of the season.
Marcus, crazy profile picture, by the way.
If you were the general manager with this roster, where would you make the necessary changes? Oh, boy. I mean, the problem is the necessary changes should have been made in March, right? Like, you should have invested in your offensive line. You should have been able to go out and find a free safety. You should have been able to go out and got an extra corner. You should have been able to go out and get a covered linebacker. Like, there's so many different things that should have happened, and I just don't know why they didn't happen. If you're asking me right now, what's the number one thing I would do? The only reason why I would say this, and again, I don't even know if it's going to fix it, I would start Kenny Pickett. Actually, that's a lie. If you ask me the number one thing I would do right now, I would put JPJ at center. There you go. JPJ at center. Bijan, I would trade everything for a good coach and a quarterback. And honestly, you should. Because if you have a good head coach and you have a good quarterback, you're going to be able to win in the NFL. You just are. Let's go to the uprise, and Mitch looks like Sean McVey. My wife would love that. My wife's two favorite head coaches are Sean McVey and LaFleur. So, actually, Robert Saleh too at one point.
My wife loves her some D'Amico.
Yeah? I don't even know if Alex knows who D'Amico is. Probably for the best. Sal, I'm close friends with Miles Burris and played with and friends with Carl Joseph. They both think Gruden will be back after he wins his court case. I would be really, really disappointed in the Raiders if they brought back John Gruden. Now, to be able to talk about it, sure, it would be fun. But if you're going to be a team like the Raiders, I don't know how anybody in their mind thinks that bringing Gruden is a smart idea. Like, again, the way that you rebuild a football team is you rebuild it through the draft. You honestly trust John Gruden to be able to do things in the draft? I personally don't. I trust Pete Carroll and this regime more than I do John Gruden in terms of building in the draft. Like, I think if John was smart, he should go to college. Like, I honestly mean that.
Arkansas.
Well, Arkansas would be lit, but, think about what college is. College football is more about that head coach, and head coach can be that celebrity. John Gruden can be that celebrity. You're telling me there's going to be young quarterbacks that won't want to go play for wherever he is? Of course there's going to be young quarterbacks that want to go, and if you can get a young quarterback, the NIL money's going to follow him. I honestly think John Gruden is built so perfectly for college football now. Like, I think now would be the time for him to go to college. Let's go to Preston. Conspiracy theory. All right. But I think Roger Goodell has a major part in our lack of success with the Raiders organization, with Gruden firing and our scheduling traveling so far for our opponents. Yeah, we're talking about Gruden, Arkansas. So, the Trizzy Trace.
Big Gruden!
That's electric. I'm not going to lie. That's electric. I know that Rod Goodell and the NFL probably has something against, Al and all those years in the back, but there's nothing that Roger Goodell is doing right now to Geno Smith, right? Like, Roger Goodell is not like, Geno, don't throw that football right there. He's not like, Chip, do not. He's like, Chip, if you run this ball on second down again, like, Chip Kelly loves to run the ball on second down. Like, our problems are from within. Sure, we could always point at other things, but our problems are from within. What up, Sal? Fire Coach Sleepy Pete. Yeah, you're not the only one comparing it. And I tweeted it out. Credit Sam. He was like, maybe we should not have hired a 74-year-old head coach. And maybe that's the truth, right? Like, it's nothing against Pete Carroll, but 70. Like, to me, I've met 74-year-old people. It's like, do you want them running your football team? I don't know, man.
If you can't handle Cholula, you can't handle being the Raiders head coach.
It's I don't know. I agree with you, though, Sal. You're like, we can't get any pressure on a quarterback, so let's drop Crosby in coverage. It's just like, again, it's things that I'm not asking for rocket science. I'm just asking for you to not do moronic things. And the amount of moronic things that this coaching staff is doing, like, it's terrifying me. Jason, FKC, thank you for being our voice. Cheers to you. George, hear me out. Purposely tanking all along. The only reason that I don't think that this is the case is because if you were purposely tanking all along, you don't go out, like, you trade for Geno Smith, fine. You don't give him a contract extension. Like, why would you give a contract extension to a quarterback on a team that you know you're tanking with? Like, that doesn't make any sense. On top of that, Pete literally said to everybody, we're going to be a team that does a lot of winning. Now, maybe, seeing how Pete kind of handles his press conferences now, maybe, talk is cheap. But, and maybe, right, like, I don't know. Maybe they are purposely tanking. Maybe they are. Maybe Mark was like, hey, you can't tell people we're tanking because. But if you're purposely tanking, then wouldn't you want to get your younger players a little bit more playing time? Like, wouldn't you want the young guys, the 11 draft picks that you had, to get more of those extra reps? Like, sure, you might not want to throw them into the fire right away, but wouldn't you want those guys to get some reps? Like, that's the confusing part, because if the Raiders were tanking, like if I was a team and if I was a GM and if I was a team tank, I would honestly do it almost the exact opposite of how the Raiders have done it. And, like, that's the concerning part. It's just the concerning part to me. Angel, Mitch is the definition. Commitment to excellence. Angel, shout out to you, brother. Like, you know, again, we put in a lot of time here. We put in a lot of effort, but we do it because y'all show up. If y'all didn't show up, I wouldn't be here. Just truth, right? Jason, blasphemy. Don't ever trade Mad Max.
It might not be up to us, though. And it might just be something where it's like, you know.
Like, if the Raiders are not winning by 2027, I'll keep saying it over and over again, Max will want to be traded. I'm not saying Max told me that. I'm saying the contract he signed told me that. Right? Like, look at the deal Maxx Crosby signed. The plan has always been along for the Raiders to be in their Super Bowl window in the year 2027.
And it's like, you don't want your parents to get divorced, but, you know, if they're not in love, what do you do?
Yeah, true. Raider Rick, I want an autograph report cookie from Chugs. He's a celebrity. Nice rap in the last commercial. By the way out on this staff. A autographed report cookie. I don't even know what that means. The best I can offer you, Raider Rick, is if you want a signed tortilla, I can do it.
Signed. Let us know. Flour or corn?
Flour tortilla. If you want it. John Rodriguez, burritos equals flour always. Tacos equals yellow corn. I mean, is it even possible to eat a burrito in a corn?
It would be very hard.
It would fall apart. It would definitely fall apart. It would be messy. It'd be one of those you're like, you better eat this alone. Hydro. Bengals give Browns a 5th for Flacco, but we do a 3rd for Pickett. We didn't do a 3rd for Pickett. We also did a 5th for Pickett. we did a 5th for Pickett. Now, again, the other reason why they did that, Aiden O'Connell, at that time, you know, he got injured, so he was getting ready to go to the IR. They wanted to ensure that they had a good backup quarterback. Kenny Pickett also has some ties to some of the guys in the front office for the Raiders that came over from the Philadelphia Eagles. And then we also are getting that additional 5th-round comp pick for the way that free agency went. So just keep that in mind. Quarterbacks in the 2026 draft. It's funny because if you were to tell me the names that a lot of people were talking about, like somebody the other day was like, the Raiders should tank for Arch Manning. You know, I'm like, have you watched any football all season long? I don't think Arch is good enough to get drafted. I'm not kidding you when I say that. Like, I wouldn't take Arch with the 7th-round pick. I wouldn't do it. You couldn't pay me to do it. I wouldn't do it. That's how bad he's been.
Yeah.
Honest to God.
He's been bad.
Mendoza, Sellers, Beck, and oh my God, who's the kid from Oregon?
Dante Moore?
Dante Moore.
I don't think he's eligible, though.
He's not eligible. Yeah, he's 2027. But he was so cool, calm, and collected in that Penn State game, man. I would love the opportunity to get a guy like that. All right, so here's what we're going to do. I believe we are almost all caught up on all the Super Chats. We still got a few more that we will get to here on today's program. But always, we do this. It's our Tuna's Top 5. And then today is National Taco Day. We're going to do Chugs' Top 5 best tacos starting at number 5.
Number 5 on my Tuna's Top 5 best tacos.
If you guys want to let us know what your favorite taco is, let us know down below.
Maybe a controversial pick here.
Yep.
But a fried chicken taco.
Okay.
Love it from, you know, down here in Texas. We got Torchy's. We've got
like a good
velvet
taco. A good buffalo fried chicken taco.
Either buffalo sauce or some queso with that bad boy. Okay. Now, this is one taco that I would eat with a flour tortilla.
Okay.
Next up,
I agree.
And the rest of these are probably corn tortillas for me. But no, at number 4 in my slot, I'm going carnitas. I love a carnitas taco. Carnitas, a very slept-on meat. Not slept on is this guy right here. Raider! Run!
What's up, Mr. Roan?
Love a carnitas taco. I think it's a very slept on meat though. Like carnitas is gas. So that's number 4 on my list. Number 3, give me carne asada. Nice steak taco. Maybe some guac on that piece, some green sauce as well. Love, love, love me some carne asada. Good old steak taco. Can't really go wrong with that one, Mitch.
See, to me, carne and carnitas those are yellow corn.
Yeah.
Those are yellow corn. I agree with your fried chicken. That's got to be flour.
Number 2, give me an al pastor taco. Like off of the trompo with a little bit of crustiness from, hitting it on the grill for a second. An al pastor with some fresh pineapples on it. Maybe a good like mango habanero sauce on that.
If only we knew a guy that made some.
Yeah, if anybody knows a good guy that makes a mango habanero sauce or maybe a shark bite sauce, let me know. And this is going to be, I told Mitch that Raider Nation was going to hate my list because of my number 1. Hate me, all good, but my favorite taco, Mitch, shrimp taco.
I think one of my favorite shrimp tacos down here is that Mi Cocina. It's shrimp, bacon. They put cheese on it. Again, it's not your conventional taco, but a good seafood taco, a good shrimp taco, fried shrimp or just shrimp? Either?
Either or. Grilled shrimp or fried shrimp. Dude, shrimp tacos just always hit for me with a nice slaw on top. I just love them. Love a good shrimp taco. Some ones that just barely missed the list were a fish taco. Just because if I have the option between a fish taco and a shrimp taco, I'm usually going with the shrimp taco. Another one that just barely missed the list, lingua. Mitch?
No chance.
No chance?
Bro, I'm not eating lingua. No chance.
Mitch says no chance. I will also say like a grilled chicken taco, basic chicken taco, also very good as well. But these are my top 5 tacos for my Tuna's top 5. Mitch, any thoughts on here? Anything that's way too high or that shouldn't be on the list?
I mean, in all honesty, I think that all 5 of these are really, really solid for me. I'm always more like, what else am I going to add to it? Like fried chicken, I want that to be like with some buffalo, kind of in that regard. Carnitas, the way I do al pastor and carnitas for me personally is very similar. I like pineapple. I like fresh. Shrimp, though, I mean, I got no problems with this list. To me, this is a really, really solid list. The only thing I might say is I might take away carne asada. I think carne asada for me is, in my personal opinion, a little bit overrated for just the way that I like tacos.
Really?
Like, Alex loves carne asada. That is probably her number 1.
Oh, another one, brisket taco.
A good brisket taco.
I mean,
here's the only one that I think you missed. And the only thing that I would add, breakfast taco.
Yeah. I honestly, I'm not going to lie. I wasn't even thinking I was only thinking lunch tacos.
Like, to me, if I have all these, the only one that I am honestly missing on this list is a good breakfast taco.
Yeah. Bacon, egg, and cheese sauce. I mean, I love breakfast tacos, too.
Breakfast
Chorizo,
tacos.
egg, and cheese. Oh.
I mean, honestly, the breakfast taco that we had with the Night Devil shark bite sauce, that shit was banging. That shit was banging. Also, speaking of banging, Fabian Moreno! Bang! He said, I want 100 tickets.
Oh, burrito tacos. I didn't think about burrito tacos
Oh, dude,
either.
burrito can slap it.
Burrito tacos are like the new frozen yogurt.
All right, do you think that this is fair? Cheese taco, just a plain cheese taco, is like cheese pizza.
No.
No, it's not the same?
No.
All right. I think it's the same. Plain pizza. It's just like
maybe a cheese quesadilla. Like you're saying just a tortilla with shredded cheese in there.
Yep, that's pizza. Plain pizza. Same thing.
You know what the number 1 probably slice of pizza in New York that gets bought is?
That's fine.
Probably cheese.
That's okay.
Name 2 people that you know that's ever just had a tortilla with shredded cheese. That's over the age of 18.
I'm not saying I would do it. I'm saying I think it's the same. Like, I would never just go get a plain piece of pizza. Just like, I don't like people would just go get a piece of tortilla with cheese on it. You want a meat. Add a meat to it. Then it's a taco. Add pepperoni. No?
Bad take.
I don't think it's a bad take.
A. Sanchez.
Sal.
Back to basics.
Run the ball, run first offense. I mean, I thought that they did a good job early on in that game running the football with Genti. The problem is, as soon as you got in the red zone, you went away from it. And again, to me, like Chip's offense, and we're going to talk about it coming up here in this next segment, it's so predictable right now. And, to me, like if I can call out plays in my mind, like if I can kind of predict what you're going to do like we used to be able to do with McDaniels, that's a problem. So what do? I start looking at film and I write things down that I see. And then when I start seeing stats that back it up, I'm like, there we go. And I know I'm not the only one that sees it. What up, Real Cowboy? We have a good backup quarterback, Geno Smith. Right now, he would be a very good backup quarterback. I agree. Sal, I don't know, man. These decision-makings are common sense to even an average football mind. 2 + 2 doesn't equal 4 to this staff. Conspiracy or just plain idiocracy. I mean, that's kind of what I said. So I was like, to me, there's no way this coaching staff is this dumb. Like, to me, you're either dumb or stubborn. And it's only because of just the clear-as-day things that this team is just proving wrong. I say that, and I will admit this. Ron brings up a good point here. Now, again, I'm kind of in a position of management here. I'm also not at the same time at Chat Sports. But he said, how many people in here have been in management? It takes time for a culture change. My year one lost, guessing $6 million.
6 months?
$6
a month?
My second year, 12.2 profit. We are feeling out players.
Pause.
Wilkins might have been. No immediate improvements will happen in the first 6 to 12 months.
And see, I agree with you, Raider Ron, that should be the expectation. But the problem in this lies, Ron, is when Pete Carroll goes up to the podium and says, oh, no, well, we're going to try to compete this year. We expect to win games this year. Don't shit in my hand and call it brownies. Like, let's be real. Can we just be honest adults with each other and say, hey, guys, we're going to do our best to get better each and every single day. I hope that translates to wins, but my number one mission is getting this roster at a better spot at the end of the year than it is in the beginning. I want to improve every single position, every single player. If he came out and said that, I 100% agree with you. But him coming in and saying, we're going to win year one, we're going to be competitive year one, and you go out there week 5 and you lose 40-6?
Yeah, I mean, and again, I saw, Ron's like, what is he supposed to say? And I agree. Like, it's like, what is he supposed to say? I hear you. But if you're going to rebuild, right, and if you're trying to do a full-on culture change, right, my question to you is, if you're trying to do a full-on culture change, if you're trying to, do a rebuild, and I think, like, that's kind of what, maybe we should have just done a full-on rebuild. I would not have rebuilt the way that the Raiders are doing it. So I guess, like, I understand that this was going to take some time. And in my opinion, if the Raiders were going to do a rebuild and if this was going to take some time, then, I think that I just would have done it a lot differently. And, you look at a head coach like Pete Carroll, who's been I get it, brand new, you're bringing in something brand new, but he's also, like, if you brought in a CEO, right, that's been able to build other companies.
Yeah.
And he's been able to build other companies. And you would be able to expect that, hey, this guy's going to be able to build this company. But you would at least want to see that we're trending in the right direction. When you look at the amount of minute mistakes, very, very minute mistakes from, the base, like tackling, failing on offense, defense, special teams, the way that we're doing it. I think when you look at that, it's like,
and
like, that's really
Ron,
concerning to me.
I see where you're coming from in a step back and look at the season approach of, like, obviously you've been in that management position and you know that it's not a, Rome wasn't built in a day situation. So I understand that. I get it. It's just frustrating when you don't see, like Mitch said, like, you don't see improvement. It's like the team last year was better than this year. Maybe that's part of it. Maybe it's, you got to cleanse the system, get rid of, take your, whatever it's called, your
out with the old, in with the new.
What do you take? What do you take to clear out the system?
I got it to bloat.
Laxative. It's like you got to take the laxatives first and just shit your brains out before you're able to move on and do something else.
There's a lot of poop. There's a lot of shit right now. I'll tell you that. It's too much.
It's like the scene from Dumb and Dumber.
Honestly, it's like the scene from South Park where Bono is the poo. That's how I feel.
Oh!
That's how much shit I'm dealing with right now.
Steve, new profile pic. Is he trying to get dude?
He's had this.
Speaking of the Golden Bachelor, Steve, you'd be way better than the guy who's in it right now. All the girls are just shitting on him.
I'll say this. I am a big fan of the Golden Bachelor show.
The guy this year?
I said actually from a face standpoint, he reminds me of Joey. I think he kind of looks like we have Joey Peterson here. He's kind of boring to me. Like, he's kind of boring, said some weird stuff.
Well, and it's like the whole point is you're trying to get with other old people. He's like, yo, are there any 30-year-olds here?
He didn't say that. He said 45 to 60. But not a good look for a show called The Golden Bachelor where everybody's above 60. Not a good look. Steve, I'll tell you this right now, man. I'd vote for you. You have me create. What are they?
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, Steve. We got too excited about your pick. Didn't even read the question. That's on me. You have me craving taco dinner when I get back to Dallas.
All these comments have me craving taco dinner later tonight.
Dude, we have so much random food at home. I don't even know what I'm going to eat, and I can't wait. Raider Rick, serious one. Wilkins, Cooper, JPJ, Meredith, Parham, Mostert, Pratt, etc. tells me Pete has already lost control or has too big of an ego. Chip also. I mean, again, I don't know everything that's going on with every situation. The only ones that I've heard anything about are the Wilkins one. I've heard Cooper. I've heard some things about JPJ, Meredith, Mostert. I got some interesting stuff yesterday on that, but that one I think is absolutely on this coaching staff. Jermaine Pratt, I mean, I heard some rumblings. I did not think he was going to get released. I knew some shit was going to go down, but I did not think he was going to get released. I mean, again, to me, there's clearly some issues going on, and maybe that's what the Raiders are doing right now. Maybe it's like, who's really, truly going to ride with us? Like, who's literally just going to go into this blind faith? And I think the blind faith thing scares me. And right now, just what Pete Carroll and Spytek are doing, you can't tell me otherwise. It's exactly what Josh McDaniels and Dave Ziegler did. You can't tell me otherwise. We're bringing in our guys. What we say goes. Our past success, you should believe it because of that, even if it looks like a disaster. Stop it. Rich, tacos.
I tried, Rich Wolf. I tried. Mitch literally wouldn't eat it. We had it in studio, and Mitch went, eh.
I just don't. Again, to me, it's like, in my mind, mentally, I don't think I would enjoy it. Even if it's good, it's going to bother me mentally. It would.
You got to be more like me, Chase, and David Goggins.
Let's hear that. What's that?
We just do it.
I just thought, I was like, I'm not even going to say what I was going to say.
Me and Chase both liked it. We liked the lingua tacos.
So if you like something, but it freaked you out, you would do it anyway?
You know what, Mitch?
Let's hear it.
The best things in life don't come free, and they're usually the hardest to attain.
All right. Lil Watts. Even AOC was not looking like his old self, although I blame Geno. Chip is a bigger issue than realized. I mean, Geno absolutely positively deserves blame. Chip, I agree with you, is a bigger issue than realized. But, like, it was one of the things that I brought up in the show that I just did. Let's look at everything, like from a complete picture. Let's not just look at the Pete Carroll guys. If you look at just the sample size of Aiden O'Connell that we saw this offseason, that we saw in the preseason, it's the worst Aiden O'Connell I've seen. That's the truth. So, like, to me, in my mind, when you look at every single player and players are regressing, it's not like we're showing improvement. And again, we're trying to get this thing built the right way. But I actually challenge anybody out there to tell me who's improved underneath Pete Carroll. Trey Tucker? Give me another name. Miller was playing better, but again, Colt Miller is Colt Miller. Give me 5 players that you think have shown you improvements from last year to where they are now underneath this current regime. I challenge you to find somebody. Jamal Adams, but he wasn't even on this team last year. Find 5 players from last year to this year that you think have shown improvement that were on the Raiders. 5 shrimp, 4 carnitas, 3 carne asada, 2 taco de, crazy, Birria tacos, Plain cheese is a quesadilla. Cheers, Mitch, Chugs, and chat. Go Doyers. Go Doyers, Miggy. I am root for the Dodgers. I'm not gonna lie. I think the number one team that I can't stand is the Phillies. So if we can get some dubs against them, much appreciated. John, Mitch and Chugs, try carnitas, chili verde mix with pico de gallo, and a burrito with green hot sauce.
Sounds good.
I'm in, dude. I'm in. Ron, Raider Nation Trust. Let's ride. I'm trying, dude. I'm trying. Has anybody else been able to find one other player besides Trey Tucker that you think has improved this season? Because right now can't think of one. Somebody says Tyree Wilson. All right, maybe. I'll give you that one. But they're not using him the right way. Imagine if they played him at DT, right? Imagine if they kept him at DT. I don't know. All right, y'all. Final segment coming up here on today's show, and then I'm going to hop on out of here. Reminder, we do also have a duck race. $20 Venmo at Mitchell Renz 365. Right now, you would go home with $110 here on today's show. We're going to do that at the very, very end of today's program. Coming up here next is going to be why I think Chip Kelly is failing with the Las Vegas Raiders. And a lot of this is probably going to be some stuff that you know, and a lot of this is probably going to be some new information. Now that I'm looking, we did get some more people in the duck race. I just saw Anthony Green, you're in. Philip Boger in. Bruce Bird in. Bono in. Fabian, you in. $20 Venmo now to go home with $160 here on today's show. So, it's Chubbies, just so we know. Cool? All right. You guys ready to rock? Final segment here on today's live show. As soon as I get done with it, then we will do the duck race. Okay, sounds good. Let me just see here real quick where I'm at. Let me read something. All right. I am ready to rock. Here we go. Raider Nation, if you're looking for free and honest analysis around the Las Vegas Raiders, hit that subscribe button. I'm not afraid to say the truth. I'm not afraid to express my frustrations to Pete Carroll, to Chip Kelly, to Geno Smith. And if you want to feel like your voice is heard, then pull up here to the Raiders Report, where we have an amazing community here with a bunch of smart, diehard Raiders fans. And the more and more this community grows, the louder and louder that voice is. And if you're frustrated with Chip Kelly, then definitely hit that subscribe button. Coming up today here on the Raiders Report, I'm going to tell you why the Chip Kelly offense with the Las Vegas Raiders is struggling. I would even say failing right now. My name is Mitchell Renz. You're watching the Raiders Report, and if you're looking for free videos every single day around the silver and black, make sure you hit that subscribe button. So what we're going to be doing here is I'm going to be outlining why I think Chip Kelly is failing right now as the offensive coordinator for the Raiders, the guy that is the highest paid OC in the National Football League, making 3 times what he was making compared to Ohio State. First reason here is the ego problem, and Chip Kelly had an ego problem with the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm here to confirm again that there is an ego problem with Chip Kelly inside of that Raiders locker room right now. And I think right now the ego is kind of getting in the way of him being able to make the proper adjustments that this team needs to be able to make on a week-to-week basis. Let's just look at a minor example here. The Ashton Genty stance. Chip Kelly said, hey, I want you to change that stance. And it's one of those situations where the amount that this offense is doing things that it's like, it's not broken. Why are you trying to fix it? Let's spend some time on things that are clearly broken, and let's try to fix them. You know, you look at the Genty stance. That's one example. Let's look at the comments made towards Chip Kelly saying that JPJ's head's too big right now, and he doesn't know why Raider Nation is clamoring for him to play center. He isn't well liked right now in that Raiders locker room, and some of the conversations that I've heard are kind of the very same of like the Josh McDaniels of, I know more than you, and when you have a grown man who talks to other grown men in a condescending voice, the best example I can give you is this. If you were to look at a 5-year-old and they were to go, well, why? And you just go, because I told you. It's okay because that person's 5 years old. Chip, you can't look at professional athletes, and when they ask you a valid question, you can't just sit up there and go, because I told you so. That's not going to go well for professional athletes. I'm not saying that exact thing is going on right now, but there is a clear ego problem with Chip Kelly and this Raiders offense, and it's showing up in the stat sheet. We're not making proper adjustments because we care more about proving ourselves right instead of doing what is actually right. So I want you to be honest with me. I did this the other day on a show, and the amount of really good comments that I saw, I saved a bunch of them, and I was basically like, if Geno Smith was standing in front of you right now, imagine me, Chip Kelly, what would you say to me? What would you say to me right now if I'm looking in front of you? If you need to vent your frustrations, tell him. He's probably not going to look at the comments. He's probably not going to change anything about it. But if you had the opportunity to vent your frustrations, let Chip Kelly know how you're feeling. Let's go to the next thing here. The Chip Kelly scheme is outdated. The other day I was live on the show, probably like 2 or 3 days ago, and I was sitting up here going, it's a college scheme. It's too gimmicky. He looks like he's running what he did at Ohio State. And we were sitting here the other day in the Bears game, in the Colts game, yelling out what they were going to do, predicting that they were going to probably run the ball on second down. Remember how every time we'd sit up here and go, oh, third down and long, screen to Amir Abdullah, Josh McDaniels was predictable. Right now, Chip Kelly is very predictable. So when I watch something and I see it on film, what do? I start going out and I start looking for stats. Shout out to my guy Tristan Kuhn on Twitter. He was tweeting out nothing but straight facts here, and I saw it, and I was like, I completely agree. He said the scheme is outdated, predictable, lacks motion. Right now, the Raiders are 24th in the NFL in pre-snap motion. Screens. If your quarterback is struggling making reads, make it easy and adjust. Couldn't agree more, right? They run inside guard 61% of the time. It is highest in the NFL by 8%. So every time you see that run play where Genty runs into a bunch of guys and they get 1 or 2 yards, that's the Raiders running that play more than anybody else in the league. Now, yes, they've gotten better at it over the past 2 weeks, but they also run outside tackle, my mind, outside zone, just 11% of the time, lowest by 6%. He's fine during scripted plays. Think about the Raiders, how they look in that first drive. We are able to get points on the board. A lot of times our first drive looks pretty damn good. But then we kind of get clunked up in the second half, in the second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter, because we're not able to make those proper adjustments, just like Josh McDaniels. Not to mention, his play calling is not great. They have gone pass, run, 42% of the time, the most in the NFL. When you're doing something this predictable, when you're doing something that somebody who's not sitting there analyzing every single play that you're doing, at least I'm probably not doing it as much as a defensive coordinator should be doing it in the NFL, but when I can predict what you're going to do, Chip, that's not a good sign. Through 5 games, the Raiders have ran on 2nd and 8 57% of their time, which is shitty because the Raiders also have the highest mark in the NFL, and second highest last 5 seasons. They average 4.5 yards, indicating that there is some success. But like Tristan mentioned, also 8 negative plays. So a lot of times it's like we're third down and short, but we're one of the worst third down teams in the NFL, or we're third down and long, creating a very predictable play that we're going to be throwing the rock. And when you think about predictability, it is the offensive coordinator's job to be able to adjust. Chip's not done a good job with that. It's the offensive coordinator's job to put their quarterback in the best position to succeed. Chip Kelly hasn't done that. It is the offensive coordinator's job to be able to make proper adjustments as the game goes on because that other team is making proper adjustments. Chip Kelly has not done that. All Chip Kelly has proven to me is that he is the old man right now, driving in the wrong direction. You're offering him help. Hey, you're going west. You need to go east. And he's like, I want to keep on going west. I'm not trying to be a dick when I say this, but Chip Kelly is clearly proving to you that he is unwilling to make adjustments in that locker room and on the football field. I need the Chip Kelly that does the X's and O's. Right now, it looks like we got the Chip Kelly that ruined the Philadelphia Eagles. That's a fact. Now, before we get in to more and more of these issues going on with Chip Kelly, I do want to give a special shout out to our sponsor today, Chubbies. The leaves are turning, the temperatures are dropping, and the weekend air is getting that nice autumn crisp. Some of you might even say the autumn wind is a Raider. Just because the weather is changing over doesn't mean you have to pack away the fun. Chubbies is here to make sure your fall wardrobe hits harder than a PSL on a slow Sunday morning with soft, stretchy, fall-ready staples built for maximum comfort and minimal effort. The Chubbies Fall Collection just dropped, and it's packed with cozy gear that brings the metaphorical and real heat. There's the new Comfort Collection featuring the Everywhere Jogger. It's the perfect pant for unprompt naps, weekend errands, and everything in between. We all agree fall should be cozy, not constricting. And Chubbies delivers peak softness without sacrificing an ounce of style. So go ahead, break up the stiff pants and embrace the fun side of fall. Comfy, casual, built for life, the Chubbies original stretch shorts can live on your legs. Available in long, short, and waist short. They come with a relaxed fit, elastic waistband, and no fuss design. These are the kind of shorts you'll forget you're wearing until you get onslaught with high fives and compliments. So whether you're layering up for tailgates, lounging through lazy Sundays, though we don't have any lazy Sundays around here at Chat Sports, or leaning fully into the fall comfort, Chubbies has you covered. For a limited time, Chubbies is giving our listeners 20% off your order with the code ChatSports at chubbyshorts.com/chatsports. That is code ChatSports at chubbyshorts.com/chatsports. Support the Raiders Port. Show those thighs some respect with our sponsor, Chubbies. And I think anybody that has watched this show for a long time knows that Chubbies has been a part of this company for a long time. Why? I love their shorts. I know you guys don't see my legs all too often, but I got legs that I actually work out in, and I need a pair of shorts that also backs up that caboose. Let's go to the next reason here why Chip Kelly is failing. The Geno Smith regression. And does Geno Smith deserve a lot of blame? Without question. Geno Smith is missing open receivers. He's clearly not on target. He's clearly holding on to the football too long. He's inaccurate. He looks totally lost. But I think we also then have to put some of that blame on Chip Kelly, because you look at everything that this offense was last season with less talent, and the offense has massively regressed. With an offensive coordinator like Chip Kelly, with an offensive coordinator that you paid the amount of money that you did, $6 million, regression at the quarterback position should not happen. Did I expect Geno to play this bad? No. Of course I didn't expect Geno Smith to play this bad, right? He's got 6 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. He's on pace for 31 interceptions this season. I mean, we're talking about historically bad numbers by Geno Smith, because the Geno that we traded for was the Geno that you see on screen in 2024, 2023, 2022. And that was a QB that showed you that he can get better. And I get it. There's a lot of people that want to poke at Geno this and that. But I think when people actually watch the tape, they looked at the advanced analytics. Geno Smith last season in pure dropback stats. This is when the pocket is clean, and really, I think that this is the best stat to possibly prove when the pocket is clean and it's just a quarterback showing his talent and what he can do. He was number 1 in explosive pass rate, 3rd in on-target rate, 5th in CPOE, 8th in success rate, 13th in expected points added per dropback. My point is, I know I said up here that I think Geno Smith was a top 16 quarterback with legit top 10 upside. He was. All the metrics prove that. And the marriage between Chip Kelly and the marriage between Geno Smith has been a major issue. And so much to the point where I think Geno right now is a bottom 5 quarterback, starting quarterback in the NFL. And almost every single metric proves that. Chip Kelly has to take some responsibility for that, unfortunately. Let's then go to the next thing here. I'll say it right now. I don't think it's a talent issue on the offensive side of the ball. We lack talent on defense. Clearly we do. I'll sit up here and I'll say it. But going into this season, I thought from a talent perspective, we upgraded at the running back position. Jacoby Myers is a good receiver. Trey Tucker's a good receiver. The Raiders are the only team in the NFL, I don't know if you guys know this, to have both starting wide receivers, Trey Tucker and Jacoby Myers, okay? Plus a tight end, Brock Bowers, and top 25 for separation. So what does that mean? Both Trey Tucker and Jacoby Myers are top 25 in separation. Brock Bowers, top 25 in separation. That is all tight ends, all wide receivers. So we got 3 players in the top 25 for separation created. So it's not these guys aren't getting open problem. It's a Geno Smith not seeing the open guys. It's also not being able to scheme up plays that put our offense in the best situation possible. Genty has showed you he's one of the best NFL running backs. He clearly is. You can see it, man. You can see how special he is. And Geno Smith was a top 16 quarterback entering the season with top 10 upside. I really don't think it's a talent issue. I know the offensive line has struggled, but the offensive line also has massively regressed from last season. If the offensive line would have played the way that it was doing last season, I think we'd be, winning more football games. I think it would be a much different scenario. But let's be honest with ourselves. If Chip Kelly's name wasn't Chip Kelly and it was Josh McDaniels, if it was I don't know, Bo Hardigree, if it was Mick Lombardi, all these other failed OCs that we've had, Luke Getsy, we would be lighting that torch to fire that guy up much louder. But because it's a name like Chip Kelly, we're not being as loud and as angry. I'm telling you this, the Raiders have talent on offense. It's right now Chip Kelly is failing as an offensive coordinator. Are there other people to blame? Of course they are. But Chip Kelly is failing. And if you're a frustrated Raiders fan, again, you're going to see me keep talking about this. You as a YouTube watcher, you get 3 hypes per week. It's a brand new feature that YouTube has launched. I'm asking you this as a Raiders fan. I need 2 of your hypes this week. I want the entire world to see that Pete Carroll and John Spytek are failing. I also want the entire world to see that Chip Kelly is failing as an offensive coordinator. If you're like, Mitch, I don't know how to hype a video, go on your phone, okay? Pick up any video that I drop. This video that you're watching now, you're going to see the comment section pull up. You're going to be able to take your right thumb, and you're going to be able to swipe to the right. Something's going to pop up. It's going to say hype. You're going to click that. I want our videos to get in the hype circulation here on YouTube. And I don't know if that's the right word to use, but I know for a fact that YouTube cares about it. So if YouTube cares about it, I want y'all to care about it. If you could, please hype this video if you're frustrated with the Raiders offense. Let's go to the final thing here of why Chip Kelly is failing, right? We could talk about ego. You can talk about scheme being outdated. You could say things about Geno Smith. I could sit up here and say it's not a talent issue. Well, guess what? The numbers, they don't lie. The Raiders' offense with Chip Kelly is worse. Think about this. The Raiders' offense with Chip Kelly and Geno Smith is worse than the Luke Getsy, Gardner Minshew Raiders' offense. It's worse than the Jimmy Garoppolo, Josh McDaniels Raiders' offense. It is. When you look at the numbers, this is the worst offense that the Raiders have had through the first 5 games of the season. So, like, you know, if I'm going to be somebody up here and I'm like, man, this coach can't do it, AP. Hey, man, this coach, Josh McDaniels, can't do it. You know, we got to sit back and go, can Chip Kelly do it? I'm not sure. Right now, the Raiders are scoring 16.6 points per game. That's 30th in the NFL. They were scoring 18 points per game last season. Total yards per game, 18th. Passing yards per game, 16th. Whoop-de-doo. Anybody that's watched the Raiders this season would probably say a lot of those are garbage time yards. Giveaways, 10. That's 31st in the NFL. Red zone touchdown percentage, 31st in the NFL. Chip Kelly was given the amount of money that he was given to be an offensive coordinator that we could rely on. Imagine if you gave a quarterback the highest paid contract in the NFL. You would expect that quarterback to be able to do everything in their power to carry this team. I expected an offensive coordinator that would make the Raiders better. Unfortunately, Chip Kelly is failing, and he's not man enough to admit that he is failing. It's okay that you failed. Now we've identified some problems. Let's make the solutions. Instead of you saying that it's not a me problem, it's an everybody else problem. It is a you problem, Chip, and I need you to realize that right now. Now, if you guys do not know when I'm going to be live this week, I'm going to be doing a lot of different live shows. So I'm going to be live for Thursday Night Football, which is down here. I go live every single Tuesday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, and this down here, 1 hour before kickoff when the Raiders go up against the Tennessee Titans. And yet again, another must-win game. And I'm not saying these issues are not correctable. All I'm saying is if you're failing, I'm going to let you know. Just like if I was failing, I would want you to let me know, Chip. All right, Lil Watts, even AOC. Yep, I know, man. I think we already got that one. But to me, when you really sit back and you look at Raiders players that were on the roster last year and Raiders players that were on the roster this year, it's honestly really hard to find anybody where you're like, that guy improved. Again, to me, Trey Tucker, Dylan Laube improved. Find somebody else. It's tough, dude. It's tough. Sanchez, trade Smith for Sanders. Let's ride with the young quarterback. Tired of journeyman QBs.
They're not going to do that.
Yeah.
They just traded away Joe Flacco.
Again, 0% chance. 0% chance. Stabler, back in the day, we had the biggest, baddest O-lines in the league. That's what we now need. If you're going to draft him back like Genty, you better be able to figure out a plan to build your offensive line. And
this isn't me saying Besh is a bad player. What an idiotic move now looking at it, that you could have had Tate Ratledge at one of your guard spots and gotten another wide receiver later on. You're not even using Besh, Porter. Like, the fact that you're not using any of your second or third round picks is insane.
I mean, they're not using any of their picks outside of Genty. I bet you if you looked at, again, the Raiders drafted 11 players. 11 players. outside of Genti, the other 10 players that you drafted,
Like what?
I don't know if they've reached 250 snaps.
Well, I mean, 3 of them didn't make the roster, right?
Correct.
So
Well,
then,
Cam Miller's on the practice squad. Tommy Malott ended up getting cut. And Lindenberg, same thing. I mean, he's on the roster, but
I mean, yeah, J.J. McGee's, Tonka Hemingway,
they're at 20-something snaps. They're probably at 50 snaps combined.
Caleb Rogers,
I don't even think he's been a healthy active.
Charles Grant.
He was a healthy active for the first time last week. Darian Porter's got 99 snaps. He's just finally getting some playing time, but you benched him for Kai Blue Kelly. Jack Besh has played a decent amount of reps, but he's still under 100 snaps played. Dante Thornton, I mean, Dante's been playing, but Dante's been struggling. You know, it's just like, to me, the way that they're doing this rebuild, if it is a rebuild, it's weird, man. It's weird. Let's go to, I'm going to be honest, I don't know.
Jafuna Utu.
Bingo. Bro, I'm a long-time Seattle Seahawks fan, and my older bro is a diehard Raider fan. I love Coach Pete. He took us to the NFC Championships, twice to the Super Bowl, won once, created the Legion of Boom, and made a name for him. I know. But, you know, it's like I don't give a shit about what he did. I give a shit about what he's doing, you know? And it's like if you were in a relationship with somebody and that person was a great partner to their last partner, you don't give a shit about that. You care about how they treat you in this current relationship, you know? Like, and right now what Pete Carroll is doing is there's just a lot of questionable shit. This coaching staff is just doing a lot of questionable shit. And like, I just want honesty. I want transparency. Like, I want somebody to tell it to me how it is. Like, if Pete's actions were backing up his words, if his words were backing up his actions, I'm able to just deal with it a lot better. You know, the only thing I'm doing is I'm sitting up here going, I believe in Pete Carroll. I believe in the direction we're going, only because of what Pete did once before. But I'm sitting in the back of a car right now, and I'm watching us drive the wrong way. You know, we need to be heading to Ocean City, Maryland. We're heading to California. But I'm like, I'll be a part of the ride because Pete knows where he's going. At some point to me, like, there's got to be a U-turn that happens, and I don't know when it's going to happen. What up, the Uprism? Does Chug still believe in Chip Kelly? Yeah, that song died quick.
Yeah.
That song died quick. Not great. Not one of our best.
Not good, Jim.
Not one of our best. All right, y'all. Final call here for you to get in our duck race. This is going to be the final thing that we do here on today's program. The last time that I checked, it was a $20 Venmo. You would have gone home with $160. I am happy to say that you're going to go home with a little bit of extra money right now. Sanchez, Engel, Simon, TG. I see Giuseppe. And then I also see Soldier Man up in that. Oh, right now, winner would go home with $210. So the way that I want to be able to do it is this. We're going to do third place, you get your money back. You get $20. Second place, you're going to go home with $50. First place, you're going to get the rest, which I believe that math is $130 first place would get. So everybody's going to get a chance to win a little bit of money today. Multiple people will get a chance to put a little bit of money in their pocket. Though, I see a few more people now getting it in. Matt, we'll do this. Buy you in. And then Richard Kelly, you in. You in. Final chance, y'all, to get it in. Final chance to get it in. So this means let's do third place, 20. Second place, 50. And then, it's what?
70 minus 230, so that's 160.
160? Is that how that math is mathing? First place gets 160? First place gets 160.
Here we go.
Here we go. Here we go. So maybe I'll do third gets 30, and then first will get 150. Second gets 50. Let's do it like that. Bayou out to a little bit of a lead, followed by Justin Gonzalez, or I always get it wrong, Justine. I'm sorry. Fabian, Kenny Wise. And in the Halloween outfit. Victor Lobos. That's actually how I picture Victor dresses. Anthony Green. That's brutal spelling of that name. Bono. Interesting spot here. Richard Engel. Punda. Bruce Bird. Spider-Man meme. Oh, Bono, did you step on something? Though he was dressed up as Sonic. Richard Kelly falling back here a little bit. Squirtle, that Soulja Man falling back here a little bit. Uh-oh, who's this at the top?
There's 3 Kenny Wises.
Richard Kelly. Richard Engel. A lot of Richards. All right, so Engel's going to get the 150. Engel gets 150. That means Kenny Weiss is going to get 50. Kenny, can't you see? Kenny's going to go home with 50 for second place. Good stuff. And then Richard Kelly, Mr. Kelly, you're going to get $30. Mr. Kelly, congrats. All right. So, for those of you that do not know, the next time you're going to see me live on this program.
Actually, not this game. It'll be Thursday night.
Yeah, Kenny, you put in 80. I know. I gave you 4 ducks.
Raiders losing to the Titans would be the most Raiders thing ever. No, Mitch said it. The most Raider thing ever would be if they would have beaten the Colts and then lost to the Titans.
Yeah, or they beat the Titans and then lose to the Chiefs. That's
nah. The most Raider thing would be win the next 2 and then go on like a losing streak.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Probably beat the Colts and then lose to the Titans. I mean, here's the thing, though, man. It's God honest truth. If the Raiders beat Tennessee and if they beat Kansas City looks beatable. Obviously, the Raiders look very beatable, right? You're 3-4. You hit your bye week, and then you're trending in the right direction.
Vinthrak, what's good, my guy?
You're good, Kenny. I got you, bro. All right, y'all. Next time you're going to see Jeremy Chuggs and I is going to be on Thursday. Jeremy's going to dress up as Andy Reid, and I got to dress up as Taylor Swift. And I promise you this, when you see the outfit that I have, it is, my wife ordered it. She told me I got to wear it. It's entirely too small. There's going to be some nips. That's all I'm going to say. It's gross, dude. It's gross. It's a gross outfit. It's a gross outfit. Hit that subscribe button. I'll see you guys Thursday night. And if you're like, Mitch, I don't want to see you in a gross outfit, I'll see you then game day. We're going to go live at 3 p.m. Eastern time here on the Raiders Report.